2, 1. We're live.
Awesome. So, this is Bardic Inspiration Podcast, Episode 5. I'm your host, Brad, the Bard, B-Rad, whatever you want to call me. And today my guest is Anthony Bones Reid from Horns of Pan.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm awesome, man. I'm glad to have you on. So, I met Bones at an open mic, and he was an incredible musician. And I started talking to him a couple times, and, you know, every time I would talk to him, he became more and more enticing and interesting for me. So I said, yeah, let's have him on. So what's up, man? Tell me, what brought you to America? I need to know how you ended up here.
It's a weird story. So I was born in Massachusetts, actually. I got four older American siblings, Australian parents. I've been in Australia since I was 1, but last year, this old Malaysian fella who works with my cousin found out that we were dual citizens.
Nice.
And he hit me up and sent me over. He just bought a warehouse in Reading to send me over to look after it and like start a business with him. But that's on the back burner for a while.
That's cool.
Disappeared. So.
You're focused on the music right now, though.
Yeah, that's what my goal is. But I got a warehouse here, and I'm like using it to. I'm just starting again, trying to do weekly cover videos on the Yangqin, a Chinese hammer dulcimer that I play.
Yeah, that's awesome. We're definitely gonna get into that more later.
Yeah,
that thing is amazing. Though I think the first time I saw you pull it out, you did like a Tool cover, and I was like, dude, oh my god, this guy's crazy.
Right, yeah. Vicarious is my favorite song to play on that. Yeah.
I want to. Well, every time you come in, I ask you to play Right Into. I'm waiting until you learn it. That's my jam, dude.
Yeah. I can play that on guitar better, but
oh yeah,
I can play the intro and then it gets weird in the middle.
It does. True. All right, man. So actually, I want to like do a break segment here. Joe Bus Life here got us some brewskis. So this segment is sponsored by Joe. Are these your favorite beers, or did you just get some random ones?
I got the ones that you guys would probably like.
There's
some like bitter ones like Sculpin that I didn't get, and then there's the one I couldn't find, Dragons and Yum Yums by Dogfish Head. It's like a slight sour. It's really nice.
That would have been one that I would have liked. I really like sours.
So sponsored by Joe, but free advertising for
Yards.
Yards Golden Hop IPA. Is that what that is?
Yes. So this is uplifting and tropical. So this is the Golden Hop, right? Ooh, can we get a view?
Bump it up a little bit. They'll be sponsoring you in no time. Send us free beer.
That's the hope. We're just doing these free plug segments. But I'm drinking these for Joe.
Yeah, I'm gonna try one of these too.
Yeah, definitely. So you have the Dogfish Head there.
Oh.
If you want, I'll pop that top for you.
I get one of those.
Dogfish Head IPA. Imperial IPA, nice.
Ooh, a 90-minute. That is...
What does that mean?
That means it's like 9%?
9%. That one's 6%.
Yes.
Oh, shit. I made the right choice. Okay.
Then I have 7.5% in the fridge.
That's awesome. So, Bones, you said you watched the beginning of one of the interviews.
Yeah, I meant to.
The recent ones.
I meant to watch more of them.
Yeah. So... Oh, yeah, here, go. You got it. If you need help, I got you. Yeah, just rub some MMA. Yeah, I got you, Joe. Give me it. Here, just take this one. Yeah, so what I asked Nick and Ryder was, can you share a controversial opinion you have and why?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Where to start? I've got all the controversial opinions.
Please do tell.
Oh. No, that's too vague.
Yeah.
That's too vague.
It could be about anything. Or
I remember when I was watching that video, I thought of something and then I forgot what it was.
There we go.
I forgot what the good one was. Give me a ballpark. Everything's controversial these days.
Yeah, really.
I don't want to. Yeah.
All right. Let's start here because this is something I know that inevitably we were going to talk about because I know you wanted to get into some shenanigans and conversations. So in Australia, guns are outlawed, and in America, guns are all over the place. So what's your opinion on that?
I'm very, very pro Second Amendment. I only ever shot a gun once, and it was in Vietnam.
What?
Dude,
we're going
I'm not.
shooting.
I'm not
shooting.
Yeah,
in
take
like a
me
week.
shooting.
Yeah,
Sweet.
dude, I'm hitting
Shooting
you.
in Nam.
Right? Like that's the most random.
I keep going to the Goodwill outlet, which is right down the road
Can you
from this
wait?
gun.
I want to know this
gun.
Vietnam story. Tell me the story behind that.
Well, I just went to Vietnam. That's where I got my first hammer dulcimer, actually.
Nice.
Uh,
What inspired you to pick it up? Did you see someone on the street
dude, it
playing
was in a shop for $200. I was like, that thing is my favorite thing already. And then I had zithers and violins and sitars and all sorts of, mainly stringed instruments because I understand how strings work.
Yeah.
Like wind is just beyond. I play the
Yeah.
didgeridoo as well, being from Australia.
Yeah.
That's my I'm not a surfer, so that's the way, like,
you have to pick one.
yeah. What was I talking about? The dulcimer,
guns.
the guns.
The guns
Yeah.
in
Okay. So there's a
Vietnam,
place in Vietnam. The caves. I can't remember what they call it, but it's like the tourist thing to see where in the Vietnam War where they like dug these tiny little tunnels all
Nice.
underneath. And so I went down in one of these tunnels. They it's like have you seen a trapdoor spider hiding its hole?
Yeah.
So they did that. They had little tiny holes that were like this big, and they had a cover and then leaves over the top of them, and they showed us where you can like find one and you can go down into this hole. And I went down. And you have to hold your hands up to bring the lid down.
Yeah.
And then like. You really need to cover the lid with leaves when you take it down so that you can't see the edges of the hole.
Nice.
It's a bit more sophisticated than the trapdoor spiders, but anyway, at this place, these caves and these tunnels, they had an AK-47 or a bunch of guns lined up, and they were like attached so you couldn't pick them up and shoot anybody, but that's the only gun I ever shot. Was an AK-47?
It was like a shooting range. They let you shoot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What were you able to shoot at?
I bought 10 rounds and shared them with my brother. So I shot 5 rounds at just this side of this hill.
Yeah.
With little like posts sticking out of the ground.
Was it?
And I was
Was
just
it an
shooting to see
automatic?
the dust.
Was it automatic
No,
or semi-automatic?
No,
like
just one. Yeah.
Yeah,
semi.
we're gonna have some fun.
Yeah,
I
good.
have
Good.
some friends.
I look forward to that. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah,
That's cool.
be
So
kinda
what
keen to.
countries have you been to?
So a couple of years ago, I did a 3-month, I guess, tour around the Baltic Sea.
Mm-hmm.
So I hired a camper van in Berlin and drove right around through the Scandinavian countries, and
That's cool.
that was kind of cool. We were in the Arctic Circle for the middle of winter. So for a couple of days, there was no sun. The sun didn't come up.
Nice, yeah. That
It's like
30 days of night thing.
Like 2 hours of twilight in the middle of the day, and that's about it. Like the sun just obviously was close to the horizon, but it didn't cross over. You didn't see it.
That's cool.
That was cool. Yeah, that was. I don't remember what year that was. 3 years ago.
Nice.
Count.
You've been to Europe more than that though?
A little bit. My sister lives in London, so I went went to there. She got married in Scotland, so I went there and stayed in London for a little while. Did a little busking. Done a lot more busking in Australia, but on the tour around the Baltic Sea, I had some pretty good times busking in random cities with the hammer dulcimer.
That's cool.
Odense in Denmark, second biggest city in Denmark. It's a really tiny city, it's a small population, but that was a really cool city. We happened to drive through there on Black Friday. They've adopted that custom from America, I assume.
Yeah,
that's
it must be.
That's an American thing, but
that's the American holiday.
that was like a wealthy town lit up, having a great party for Black Friday. Everyone was out, and I was driving through, and I was like, I gotta stop and play some dulcimer, and I think I made.
Did that fuel your trip?
Was
making money for your trip?
I definitely would have been broke before the end of it without busking,
nice.
but that wasn't like the intention. That was just like it was an extra heavy thing to carry around with me, so I could make a little bit of extra stuff. But
so you opt to use, because you play guitar too, but you opt to use the dulcimer when you busk?
Oh yeah, I've played enough guitar in the street. I mean, maybe if I have my loop pedals and a PA system and stuff, power, out in the street, then I'll do okay. But I've played enough acoustic guitar in the street to know that compared to the hammered dulcimer, no one gives a shit about a guitar.
Oh, really?
Like, everyone's seen 100 guitarists before, but I'm playing this magical ancient Chinese like instrument, and I'm playing pop songs, which is also helpful if people know the songs, and it grabs them a lot better. If I play Tool or if I play The Cure or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the Cure song that you did went viral.
Yeah. So so there's a lot of Cure fans everywhere, you know, and they hear it, and busking is a little bit it's a little bit funny because it's like great practice. I'm playing this instrument sometimes for 6 hours in a day or through the night or something on the street. So it's like amazing practice to play for 6 hours a day. You know, anyone who plays an instrument for that many hours a day is gonna get pretty good.
No doubt.
But if you're at home and there's nothing on it, then you can mess around and play really badly and try and work on this song that's way too hard for yourself. But out in the street, there's people walking past. If I'm in a dead time and I know there's going to be people later, then I'll just work on some songs that I...
Yeah,
but,
like that's when you'll suck. And then when people are coming through, then you'll play the rehearsed
That's
stuff.
the intention, but then like I start playing a song that I suck at just to try and work it out, and someone's like coming and then I'm ruined. I'm already messing up.
Yeah.
So it's so psychological, you know.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like for me anyway, because I'm a nervous kind of guy. So.
Well, yeah, you were saying that earlier. Like, it's so funny because I had another guest before the interview started mention that they were saying that they were nervous, and it's crazy how a lot of the performers are nervous doing something that they're not used to performing, you know? Like, you're not used to doing a live podcast, so now you're nervous about it.
Yeah,
I find that so funny. You know?
So so I've got enough songs on the guitar with the loop pedal and even on the dulcimer I'm getting there. But with the guitar, like, I've got enough songs that I've played enough times that I'm super comfortable. I can smash them out in front of a crowd of whatever size, and I'm okay. But yeah, as soon as I'm like a little bit unrehearsed or a little bit like out of practice or whatever, then I'm just really nervous. And when you lose yourself in it, then the Eminem song I really like,
Mom Spaghetti.
It's fine once you get there, but I don't know, it's tricky. So I've been doing this stand-up comedy not every week, but I'm trying to go as much as I can.
Yeah, you've been going pretty frequently. That is really cool. That it was so fun.
You performed there as well, right?
I did.
I missed you,
when I saw you go up, like that was one of the things that made me like, because I was interviewing Dan from Wasted State, one of the comedians there.
When did you see me? Because I'm pretty sure
it was like
I was so bad. I'm sure.
No, you weren't even bad.
Did I get like 2 laughs in 5 minutes?
You made me laugh. Like, and I think, well, and I don't laugh at everybody. You know what I mean?
Right. Like anything, like even musicians. If you know the people who are making this original music, then you like it more just because you know it, then you can identify with it better. I think that's true.
Definitely true.
I want more local music in the world.
Yeah, to some degree, maybe that's true. Like, there's some comfort in that. I don't know.
I had friends in bands growing up that really inspired me, and it upset me to see how good some of my friends' bands were be unsuccessful, and other like pop musicians or whatever other gimmicky garbage is out there that's getting huge. And people that I knew, and then later I'm like looking back and I'm like, I still think that music was really good, but I think that I thought that it was maybe better than it was because I knew them personally or whatever. So it's like it distorts your distorts you a little bit to know.
I think there's some gravity in that though, for sure. I think
it's in between somewhere. Yeah.
The problem is in that industry, it's not who you know, or it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's not, you know, it's not your art. It's who can get you there.
Honestly, I think these days, stuff like podcasting goes viral, and so like I heard about this Australian artist a few years ago who was suddenly like world famous within like a month after they started doing a weekly live performance on the internet.
That's awesome.
Right? And so I've been intending to do that forever, but I just
intention.
That's it. But like doing his weekly cover songs on the Yangqin, on the dulcimer, the amount of takes that I do and the amount of times that oh man.
For sure.
And I just like I'm playing and then I just stop. I just miss a note and then I just stop. Last night I played at this party, it was really good because I was so awkward at the start and I messed up and I stopped a song and someone just said, "Man, we don't even hear the mistakes," you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's so helpful. Now I don't care, and now that was all I needed to hear.
It's
to be
so
like,
mental.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like
all
like
psychological.
Even when I play like when I was in the metal band, I played these huge loud fucking shows. The crowd's loud, the music's blaring.
Mm-hmm.
I make one mistake and like it gets to me, and I'm like at the after action review, I'm like, man, I messed up this song and that song, and they're like, yeah, I messed up this song and that song, and then when you go out to the people after you're done doing the backstage stuff, they're like, oh, you were so good. I've never seen you play so good. I'm like, shut up,
so
dude.
Good. The thing I keep trying to tell myself is that no matter how well I play, there's going to be a few people who are like, that song is garbage, your voice is garbage, like this instrument is twangy and annoying or whatever. Like there's going to be a few people who are like, that's not what I'm into. And some subset of them are going to be like, this is shit, fuck off. Especially if you're on the internet.
Oh, dude.
Because people just open their mouths and say whatever the fuck they can because it's anonymous, right?
I was just talking to one of my previous guests about that.
The people who like it, if you fuck up, they don't notice and they want you to keep playing. And when you stop a song and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I fucked up, they're like, you should be sorry that you stopped. Because that was awesome to some people.
Yeah. Well, honestly, like one of the opinions that I have is, it's better to sometimes have it out there, for people, because if they're looking for it, they're gonna watch it. Like my opinion, like I had an argument with a bandmate like years ago about this. Like he was like, "Oh, we got to learn all the covers so we can play all the clubs." I'm like, "No, dude, we got to write originals." Because I'd rather affect that one dude with my original than please 100 people with the same shit they've been hearing. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
But I was saying about like the one guest I had on, I was saying how it's crazy how when you play live, you tend I feel like you tend to be more in your element. Like I think when you play live, there's a skill that people don't account for, and that is the art of covering up mistakes. You know, because if you can cover a mistake well, and exude good energy on stage, sometimes you can hide that, and I feel like that's one of the skills I have. You know, definitely one of the skills I have. Because like a lot of people are there to see a show. You know what I mean? If they want to hear a perfect song, they'll listen to the album.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So your band.
I feel like any bands that that can sound better in the live situation than they. Well, I guess a good record producer is going to make them sound as good or better on the album, but
artificial.
But it is a little bit artificial, and if you can have such a good energy just to the live music, then I don't know, it's better.
No, I agree. I've done like the one band I was in a while ago. We did like a live album, or it was like an EP, but it was like straight played through with very little like repair tracks to fix small things like in timing or something. And I feel like that was the most organic thing I've ever recorded. And I feel like I still like those songs a lot for what they are. Like those recordings feel like what the live version is, you know?
Right.
And that's what I like.
I'm interested in that. The number of like live albums that there are out there, whether they're remastered or what after the recording, but it seems to me that as awkward as I can be in front of people give me energy as well, and give me inspiration, and make me perform better.
Yeah.
And when I'm trying to record my videos at home by myself, like I start the video and then I go and sit down, it's like, where do you get that energy from? You just have to tell yourself that people are gonna be like, wow, that's great, or we don't even hear the mistakes, like someone told me last night.
Well, like when you're saying, when you hit play on or record on that camera and it's just you, it almost feels like you're in a job interview or something.
Yeah,
because it's like, oh, I can't say anything wrong, everything has to be perfect. Like, it's that pressure kills me like a lot of the time. Unless I'm in the mood to do it, it's never gonna be the product I want on the recording. So I do very little of that. You know, usually I need like a depressing situation in my life to happen so that I'm motivated to. I need this art out there. You know what I mean? Then I want to record it, and there's like purpose behind it.
I gotta start writing some original music again, because it's been far too long. But doing these covers. I mean, I love these songs, so they inspire me and they get me excited to do it. And one Cure song that went viral, "Lullaby" on the dulcimer, on Facebook, a couple of months ago. It's like, that wouldn't have happened. Like, I'm not good enough a songwriter and to captivate people that much yet, and you gotta practice to get that good, right? Like,
but I feel like
Robert Smith,
the Cure already did the groundwork for you by getting famous.
Sure,
so
but
people know that song. You know what I mean? So even if you wrote a masterpiece,
if I started making money off that, then I'd have to pay royalties, songwriting royalties and stuff.
But even if you wrote like a masterpiece and had it out there, only people that are into the dulcimer are gonna look at that. You know what I mean? People click on the video because it's the Cure.
I mean,
you know
people aren't into the dulcimer. Some people are. It's a small subset, but a lot of people who shared that video that went viral are just Cure fans, or just like, they're not into the dulcimer. They don't give a shit. But it's like, when you see it, it's cool. But they're not going to seek it out or anything.
It is a uniquely badass live instrument, I have to say. Like, the first time you broke that thing out, I was in the middle of a conversation. I'm like, wait. Like, I need to pay attention to this for the next 15 minutes.
I wonder if that was the first week that I brought it to Speckled Hen, or because
maybe it was.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the same night as the comedy night, so most nights I go there now, I'm pretty drunk already because I'm so nervous to get up and try and do stand-up comedy.
Well, so what performing arts have you done? Like, so you've done the comedy, you've done live music. Have you done anything else?
That's
like acting or anything
much
like that?
It. I used to live in a warehouse in Melbourne that my friend James Adler ran. It was the Eagle's Nest Theatre Company, which is this theatre troupe. He's got a bunch of actors. They're a non-profit organization. So
that's awesome.
So that worked out for a bunch of reasons, but I went to a school with them one day to play a character. I can't even remember who it was now. It was like a crazy old sage dude. I had really long beard and really long hair at the time.
Nice.
So I was like performing this part that he only needed for one. I think maybe even they didn't even end up doing it because they ran out of time, but I was sitting on stage in front of a bunch of high school kids.
Was it like a play? It was a play?
No, it was a workshop. So they're a theatre company. They do plays, they do full productions, but they also
What's
just
the
go to.
theatre company called?
It's called Eagle's Nest Theatre Company.
Eagle's Nest. Okay.
It's in Melbourne, Australia. You know.
Well, no, because you know what? There's a theatre company from Australia that I did a workshop with called Massive Company back in between high school and college. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but that's what I was like wondering. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's the same thing. This small world.
No,
stuff.
it's just this guy that I became really good friends with. My landlord, I guess, but.
Oh, here comes a truck. Let's see how this shows up on the podcast. We got a truck rolling through here.
This is a bus, by the way. I couldn't tell that from the other, but we're sitting on a bus right now.
Yeah, this is a school bus. Oh, that's a
really
quiet truck. I don't think that's gonna show up.
Did you even see that on the screen?
Good? We good? Yeah, nice. I'll drink to that, Joe. Where you at, Joe? Where you at?
I'm empty.
Hey. Oh, crack one open, baby. Oh, that's awesome.
I've got an actual bottle opener that you can use.
Oh yeah, nice.
Cool.
That's cool. So let me ask you. So you've been to a lot of countries. I've never been outside of America. I'm trying to change that this year.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Never.
Never.
America,
What?
USA, or America? You've been to Canada, or
I guess maybe because of the Niagara Falls. Maybe I tiptoed into Canada. It doesn't
you
count.
yeah.
If I was in Canada, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
And I've been to Puerto Rico, but that's US
America as well, right?
territory,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? So that doesn't count.
USA. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Everyone
Yeah.
says America when they mean USA. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we're cocky assholes.
America.
So.
Dude, if there was a little section of Australia that was like Israel or whatever, then we would still just say Australia.
Yeah.
Although,
That's funny.
I don't know if Australia is the continent or the country, because
Well, isn't it both?
uniquely we're both. Yeah.
Yeah. That's but so New Zealand is part of the continent Australia, though.
Oh, that is a good question. I don't even know that.
It must be.
I think it must be. It's not
'Cause-
part of Asia. and
exactly,
presumably everything above water is part of one of the
Mhm.
continents.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. What is Hawaii? Is that part
Hawaii-
of North America?
It is. Question mark.
Because that's right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
It is not part of the continent of Australia.
No. What continent is New Zealand?
This is an island, I guess. It's part of that.
It's
ocean.
an island, right? Right. Not every
Pacific
island
Rim.
has to be part of a continent. I
Yeah.
think
I
a continent.
guess.
It's
I don't
the
know.
Oceania area, the Pacific Rim.
I don't know the definition of a continent, but
Speaking of Pacific Rim, you see that movie?
probably
I'm just
just
kidding.
a big
That's interesting.
a continent.
Is
I
it
guess
New Zealand's big though? Isn't New Zealand?
It's pretty small.
What's the right
Probably
side?
the same
Island.
size as the United
What's
Kingdom.
the right
or
side
something
of
like that? Maybe smaller.
Australia?
That's where
New Zealand,
Zealand's
yeah.
like down and to the right.
And then what's on the left side?
Not much.
The Indian Ocean.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of in terms of risk.
Africa.
Maybe that's
if you
not
go
a
far
good
enough.
way. Like that's my geographical like knowledge base.
What do you mean?
You ever play Risk, the
of what?
game?
Oh, okay,
The
Risk
game
the
Risk?
game. Yeah, I used to play that.
That's how I know.
Yeah, no, in New
That's how I
Zealand you
know.
can only attack from Eastern Australia. They don't even have, I think they have Western and Eastern Australia, but it was part of the Australian continent. You had to win
Oh yeah.
New Zealand.
Yeah,
in
that's
order
why
to
I thought.
get the
That's why I thought.
+4.
All of Brad's geographical knowledge is based on risk.
Honestly,
That's
at
all you
least I
need.
have it because like a lot of people don't even know anything about Australia. So I'm gonna call that a win. We need more geographical based games in America. That's funny. So the question I was trying to ask a minute ago, what country seems to be like the happiest? Like the government and the people mesh well.
I don't know how to answer that. I mean, from my own experience.
Yeah, well, obviously from your own experience. I'm not asking you as if you're a political science guy.
But even in my own experience, I don't know how better to answer that than the like official studies that have been done that seem to rate like Denmark and places like that the happiest countries. I mean, I've been to Denmark. It seems like a pretty great place. People seem to be pretty happy there, but they have problems as well. I'm friends with a bunch of people in who had this. Well, I went to this place called the Floating City. It's right in Copenhagen in Denmark, and there's a bunch of crazy weirdo artists, pirates, and people who like build boats out of fucking styrofoam and whatever.
That's
and
crazy.
they've got a bunch of secondhand boats. They're repairing them. They're pretty much pirates. They're crazy people, and
They party hard.
and the government gives them all sorts of shit. And I think they got, well, not just the government, but they got kicked out of the warehouse that they used to like be based in, that they were building the boats. There's a bunch of them that hang out in Pirate Bay, which is just seriously like out in the river/ocean. They live out there on their boats that are falling apart, and they help each other out. And
That's cool though.
but they're I guess maybe the government leaves them alone just enough for them to be happy. So.
I mean, what are they gonna do?
And Denmark
like,
is
if they were gonna put like if they were gonna cut out these guys like from doing this stuff, what would they do with these people? You know?
What are you gonna do? Someone who wants to live off the grid, are you gonna? I mean, in America, we're gonna send the army in on an ATF to knock down their compounds or whatever.
Yeah, it's insane.
But most, I mean, America's such a big country, such a big the government of the USA is like the richest organization that's ever existed, or something like that.
Really.
The trillions of dollars that they spend every year, that goes through every year. It's not even there.
That's just crazy to think about how. When I was first doing research on getting the bus, right? Like, so I was having conversations with Joe, who I'm going to have on my podcast later, and you guys got to watch that one. So he went and bought a bus, and I was like, there's no way you're going to survive. Like, you're going to die a week into owning a bus, because that's how my brain worked at the time.
Right.
Or whatever, you know,
yeah.
to give the short version.
Normie.
And then he was living in California for over a year, and I'm like, wow, this is the coolest.
In a bus.
This is the coolest shit I ever heard of.
Yeah.
And now I own this one.
California's probably got a better climate than here, right?
Yeah.
Like through the winter, you probably want to move indoors.
Yeah, we would just go wherever the weather was nice. So
Uh-huh.
we started like the northwest, went all the way down to LA, went east, and then went through Death Valley, just all over, wherever.
It's not like I was in a camper van in the Arctic Circle in midwinter.
Yeah, that's
that
badass.
was had good sleeping bags, but it was minus 5 degrees.
That's crazy.
Centigrade, which is like Celsius, which is like minus 15 or something.
That's crazy.
Wait. No, it's not.
It's like 20.
No, it's not. It's
20
like
degrees Fahrenheit.
20. Yeah, that's right. The coldest.
20 positive.
The coldest. Yeah. The coldest.
That's still crazy.
The coldest place I've ever been in my life was here in January, when it got down to 0 Fahrenheit.
Oh man, I think the coldest I've ever been is I actually went to Alaska. I think a year or 2 years ago, and we were in the Arctic Circle and went in winter to see the Aurora Borealis. Oh my god, dude, it was like negative 15. I'd never been so cold. Your hand couldn't be exposed for more than like a few minutes at a time.
Straight away.
Yeah,
right?
immediately.
Just walking
like
around in,
any flesh from your face that's not covered was like immediately.
So
like,
I slept
ow.
in that. I had a sleeping bag, and you know the cover. You pull the string, and it comes down to, like I brought it down to here, so I could breathe.
In the army, that's what we used to do. Just the nose sticking out.
I get really claustrophobic if I'm like breathing my own breath and stuff like that.
No doubt.
So if I have that out, but I wake up and my whole beard, I had a big beard at the time, but it was
frozen.
all full of crystal ice.
That's crazy. When we were in
just white beard.
What's the northern city in Alaska? It's.
I don't know my Alaskan geography.
Do you know? It's the popular one that's north. I can't.
Anchorage?
Anchorage is the big one. I'm thinking that's like the biggest city in Alaska.
To the capital?
It starts with an F. Fairbanks. Fairbanks is where we saw the aurora. My God, dude, we went to this what do you call it? Like the Earth. The Earth's like what are the water volcanoes called? The word's escaping me.
Geyser.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but it's like there's another word for those. It was like a sauna that was made from the geyser water. The word's escaping me right now. But yeah, so you're in there, your body's warm, but your hair would catch icicles. It was crazy. My cousin has really long hair, and his was like.
Yeah.
I had a beard and
a hot spring.
Hot spring is the word I'm thinking of. Yeah, that's the one. But it was
Hot springs are the best, especially when it's cold out.
Yeah, well, the geyser water is they piped it through. I can't remember exactly. The lady explained it, and I'm like, oh, hot water, please now. I wasn't listening too much, but yeah. Back to what I was saying about Joe with the bus. The reason I got this bus is because. Kind of piggybacking what you were saying about those guys that were kind of off the coast, off-grid guys. In America, if you do that, I remember reading a story where a guy bought a plot of land, legally owned this several acres of land, built his own house, built a water reservoir, and built an off-grid solar panel system, and the government attacked him for it.
Yeah.
And that's insane.
It's insane.
But if you do that on a school bus... No one gives a shit.
Right.
What the fuck,
right.
man?
It's not
Come
a plot
on,
of
man.
land. You'll always be able to find somewhere to drive to that probably has sunshine on a good week anyway.
I just think like.
But if you own a section of land and you have control of like digging wells, and
I think
stuff
if
like
you're
that,
responsible enough to own the land, and you're responsible enough to put together this infrastructure.
what's that? You don't need to be responsible to own land. You just need a bunch of money to pay for
That's
it.
true, but with the money comes some responsibility. Like you have to have a desire to. I think maybe
People take the amount of responsibility you take for something is totally your own choice.
that's
like
true.
I've been given these jobs and stuff, and
yeah.
I'm probably not responsible enough for them to deserve them.
That's funny. I don't know. Maybe I think maybe I'm giving them too much leeway here, but I don't think I am. I think
But
the
then
people.
I'm not a millionaire heir of a wealthy fortune either. So
Yeah, exactly. You know, how could I possibly know? But
lots of those people who are heirs to massive fortunes
squander that.
squander them, gamble it away, or do what have crazy ideas
Drugs and
start
orgies.
things,
Yeah.
start businesses that fail and
Yeah.
lose it all, or whatever it is.
I just think if you aspire to be a self-reliant entity off the grid and you're paying taxes on the land, I think the government should leave you the fuck alone.
I agree.
Because honestly, I think you, as that sole entity, not only are you showing initiative to, you're doing better things for the environment than people who live in row homes. First of all, and I think the government should kind of respect that, and maybe you should encourage other people to do that. I feel like the more responsible people are, the less reliant on the government they will need to be. I don't know. I could be wrong. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think
Welfare's
way
gonna be
too
there
much
no
in
matter
terms
what,
of
you know?
memes, but
Yeah.
I saw one today that was someone who's living in this beautiful, lush, like out countryside. I was going to say outback. That's the Australian Australian word, but out in the forest, basically. And it was like, I live here, and I'm being told that I need to take care of the environment by people who live here, and it's a picture of a smoggy city. You know, it's like the people in the city are telling the people who live in Eden
Yeah.
to look after it. It's
Yeah.
like, you didn't look after the place that you live in. It's like as close to the global scale of a cancer as anything.
Yeah.
Like, that's the growth that is going to destroy the planet.
It reminds me
It's
of
a
that-
tumor, right?
It
in a
reminds
city.
me of that Louis C.K. bit where he's like, if God came back, he would be like,
What
going
did you
up,
do?
what the fuck did you do? Just eat the food off the fucking ground.
Yeah.
That's amazing. In Australia, are they strict about that stuff though? Like, if you want to live off grid, I think I've seen, like, because when I before I bought the bus, I was like coming up with these grand scheme ideas of how I'm gonna build a crazy like super magic school bus thing, and I saw one Australian guy who was taking ceiling fans, taking the motors out and building like modifying them so that they could be windmills. And he powered his house off of them. And I was like,
right.
and honestly, like when I love, that's why I love the internet so much, is because these guys from all around the world can inspire you if you're looking to do something like that. Unfortunately,
All the
same
information
can be,
is there to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
If you've got, I mean, even if you've just got one ceiling fan that stops working, it's like you can take it apart and rebuild it to something that the motion generates the power instead of the power generating the motion. It's the same either way.
And I honestly, like, I respect those guys so much.
But there's like videos from the 70s of someone who invented a water-powered car and stuff like that. It's like, man, all those people got murdered by the oil companies, eh?
Yeah.
That's what happens.
That's what all the conspiracy
That's what
theories are.
happens.
Yeah, like the hydrogen-powered car guy.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's so many of them. There's like there was one that was that the motor ran on air, and one that the motor ran on water, and the motor that ran on like I was gonna say food waste, but that was Back to the Future.
Yeah. Well, you know what's like one that is going on now that I wish I could do with my bus is these guys that take the grease and the oil from the food places,
yeah.
the biodiesel stuff. Like
Yeah.
they convert it.
I've got a friend. I swear.
love
I
that,
swear.
man.
I
Like
need
they say
to.
the exhaust smells like tacos. Like that's amazing.
Right. No, I know a guy who drives around Australia every year for 6 months. He works for 6 months and then he drives around Australia, and he's got a diesel engine, no modifications, if I remember correctly. If he wasn't bullshitting me. But
There are
goes
very
to all the.
small modifications.
He goes
like,
to
it's
all
not.
the-
There's slight stuff.
He
it
just
works.
stops at fish and chip shops,
Yeah.
which are everywhere in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
He stops at fish and chip shops and like gets their used chip oil, like for fries.
Yeah.
And pours it into his engine
Well,
drives on
yeah,
it. And he
well,
doesn't. And
you need to filter it and like enrich it.
Maybe
There's
he-
a
maybe
very.
he
It's
does
not.
that.
It's not a very intensive process though.
Yeah.
Like it's for a guy that's aspires to do it. If you
Right.
say that to any like schmo at like a Starbucks, they're gonna be like, "That's out of control." You know what I mean? They're not gonna believe any of that.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. I'm gonna dig into this 90-minute. I'm gonna start spewing blasphemy because
It's definitely.
that last beer is already hitting me.
If you want me to throw some water on the conspiracy theories of alternate cars, I can do that.
Yeah, go ahead. Shoot.
Well, it's just like
The water car that's supposed to have been like a. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was some kind of. I don't want to say reactor, but it's something like that where it was like a fusion. It's like a fission reaction where it split the hydrogen and the oxygen, and it took the power from that. I believe that's the theory of how that car was supposed to work. I looked into it slightly a while ago. Like I couldn't tell you.
Well, I mean, it's
specifics.
basically with all these, not just cars, but alternate energy stuff. Like you hear hundreds of like new batteries that are like on the horizon, of like this is going to be better than lithium.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the main thing. Like you just have to look at like Elon's company Tesla, right? Like how hard is it for technology that's already here to make a new car? So like you just have to think about all these other cars that apparently were killed by oil. I mean, they were definitely like oil stopped the research, a little bit, or however much they had to. But really, the challenge is making something marketable. The technology can happen, but for $1 million per car, when you have to be able to bring it down to a price that actually works. And most technologies can't get down to a price that works without a lot of research. And you have to want to put in that research. So oil, they can stop the research, but it's not like it was ready to go, marketable.
Yeah,
and they stopped
that's
it,
true. That still doesn't make oil not
like
the bad
some-
guy, though.
some of it's slowed.
That's my view on
Some
it.
of it's slowed down by the fact that the people who come up with the ideas that may be cheap to market or whatever keep the secrets because they don't want to be.
Yeah, they die with it.
Yeah.
They want to be the ones that.
But
profit.
but really, I don't believe that so much as the. Oh man, no.
I mean, you just have to look at like Tesla right now. It's down $200 from where it was like 6 months ago.
Yeah, right.
So
You're saying the stock?
yeah, the stock was $400 a share. Now it's $200. There's nothing wrong with the stock. It is it's better off than it was 6 months ago. Basically, like the company is just perfect. Like it's reporting record numbers. Everybody wants the car. They can't make them fast enough to sell. To meet demand. But all the news does. All these news companies that are sponsored by oil companies and car companies that do ads on their networks keep on putting out negative news.
Yeah.
And even with something that's proven, it works, it's here, it's just as cheap. The pressure's still there from these oil companies and car companies.
Yeah, so much of it. If you own all of the media outlets, then you control it.
But
Control it, right?
side note, if you have money to invest, buy Tesla stock right now. I'm not an investor advisor, but do that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not an investor advisor either.
You got any investments? I don't have any.
I have you know what I was into like a year ago? I was following cryptocurrency. And I still have some money in that, but I've been kind of watching it more. I
was excited about
yeah.
Bitcoin when it was a couple of dollars per coin or whatever. kicking myself. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I should probably
no doubt.
get involved in this.
Well, you know what's crazy? Like I took a class on it back when it was like less than $100 a pop.
Yeah. It
And
was
I
originally
didn't-
like a
and I
penny a
didn't-
pop, right?
Well,
Originally,
whatever it was.
if you heard about it early enough, you
Yeah.
could be super rich just from.
Yeah,
But then just on that record, all these other ones pop up, and they're a penny a piece, so you could buy $1,000 worth of it, but
yeah.
it's never gonna go anywhere.
I think like right
Drop.
now, if you know about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin isn't the best one. Like it's worth the most because it's the original.
Yeah.
It's the original one, but the cryptographic hashes and everything behind the currency is not the most efficient one.
Right. Well, they've been. They claim to be safe from hacking and stuff like that, didn't they originally? But they've been hacked and lost billions.
Well,
Some
it's
people
not,
have stolen
it's not
billions.
that
I mean,
it's not that Bitcoin's been hacked. It's that the crypto, cryptocurrency exchanges have been hacked.
so the newer
like
coins
Coinbase.
have better security and better
it's not
systems
even
for
that.
how to hack.
It's like Yahoo.com. You're supposed to be able to trust your information with them because I'm a provider of emails. Of course, I'm going to have a really reliable infrastructure. But it's the biggest breach that's happened ever. You know what I mean? So, when it comes to cryptocurrency, it's like cash. You know what I mean? It's like money. The fact that the bank is accepting fake 20s. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't what happened, but I'm saying, like, the fact that the bank is accepting these fake 20s because you're going in to deposit some cash, and, you know, that doesn't mean that the bank... That doesn't mean that you having the money... Like, let's say you received fake money, and you gave it to the bank, and maybe got in trouble for it. Like, that's not your fault, because there's fake money in circulation. You know what I mean? So it's the institution's job to keep that stuff secure. The fact that Coinbase had a problem, I believe, with Visa and MasterCard, where they were double charging. So the fact that they had a problem with their transactioning services, that's why Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency are looking bad. It's not the fact that the money's worth any less or anything, or has any less validation. It's these exchanges that need to get their act together, you know what I mean? And every month you hear about crazy new shit that's going down. Like, the NSA's been leaking crazy hacking stuff all the time because they got, WikiLeaks got a hold of a bunch of their hacking tools
are deep, man. The conspiracies are deep. It's you look at any time in the past when people were paranoid about something or other, and about half the time those paranoias turned out to be true in the long run. It's like, what was it, 10 or 15 years ago, the crazy conspiracy theorists were saying that the NSA is listening to your phone calls and stuff like that. And you're a crazy conspiracy theorist, and now Edward Snowden is like hiding in Russia because he released all of the exact proof of that exactly happening. Yeah. And now it's still a conspiracy theory. It's like all the smart TVs. You can get them cheap because
people are paying for wiretaps.
If you guys have read 1984, I read that when I was like 15 or 16, and I thought it was awfully written and a shit book. And then as soon as I put it down, as soon as I finished it, I was just like blown away by the world around me. I was like, holy shit. This is what they're doing. It was meant to be a warning, not a instruction manual, right?
Yeah.
So the telescreens, we're watching the people. They would show you the pop music videos or whatever it was, but then they'd be recording you all day long for the government to look at, and that's what smart TVs are now. Yeah. It's practically been admitted that they're recording you all the time. Well, some of them respond to voice commands.
Amazon like last month admitted that they're.
You say, hey.
When you speak into Alexa, people are listening to that. People are listening to that. They admitted that they have thousands of employees that are parsing through that.
You say the word Alexa, and Alexa lights up. It has to be listening to you.
The whole
Otherwise,
time.
it wouldn't know when you said Alexa. That's how computers work. Yeah. And the idea that that. I mean, people think, they're not listening to 4 billion phone conversations at any one time, or how. That's an exaggeration, but you don't understand how powerful computing technology is. The fact that you can record, you can speak into your phone now, and it says the words, and it's really good quality, like voice recognition now. It can tell what words you're saying.
Yeah, and the facial recognition stuff is crazy.
Like, supercomputers can process all of the phone conversations that ever happen and work out which ones are speaking in code about drugs or terrorism or whatever it is. Like, they're listening to you, and they don't need to have one agent listening on a headset to your phone call.
They can just have
because
they filter out.
Algorithms filter out all the ones that don't talk about anything. Hey, can I come and see you later? Like, well, maybe that's a drug deal, but but yeah, any code words or any direct speech about anything, it'll be picked up, and they'll be listening to you.
Well, they had I know a guy actually who wrote a bug, or not a bug, it's called a web crawler, and it was designed to look for anything that mentions on the whole internet. His whole job is to just go here, everywhere it can possibly go, to find mentions of terrorism, specific keywords. Right. I know a guy who wrote the code for one of those things.
Right.
I believe it was for NASA, which is interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Right. He might have.
Joe,
he might have protected us from some attacks.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, that's a pretty crazy thing, because, of course, you want to be protected. But how long before...
I don't want to be protected. I want the right to protect myself. That's what the Second Amendment's all about,
dude,
right?
I'll drink to that, bro.
Yeah. That's the way.
Honestly, like...
Because some of the people you need to protect yourself against happen to end up to be the people who are hired to protect you.
Yeah.
Like, the police in a lot of countries have been the ones to,
tyrannize.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on, like, so you're saying, like, you want the right to protect yourself, and I agree, but what's your opinion on, like, assault rifles, like semi-automatic rifles like the AR-15 and the AK? Those are legal in America, in the United States. What's your opinion on that? In Australia, obviously, they don't have access to that.
Yeah, we got nothing but rifles now in Australia. You can't even have a shotgun. You can't have...
Oh, you can't have a shotgun?
I think that's true.
Who's allowed to have a rifle?
You can get a license if you have legitimate
like if
reason
you have land?
to hunt, or
you can
I guess
hunt?
you can hunt in. I'm not really sure. I was never near that world.
I was always wondering, because I feel like
I don't think you can hunt. I don't think you can hunt on public land. I don't think you can hunt in national parks or anything. I think if you've got a farm, and you want to, there's
protect your crops and stuff.
Yeah.
Like emus, right? Like emus are a problem.
Yeah, emus. We call them.
Emus.
Yeah. Emus are. I don't know if emus are protected or anything. But we got way too many kangaroos. They're a pest, basically.
Honestly, I believe it. You guys eat them?
Oh yeah.
Are they delicious?
They are good. They're good.
What does a kangaroo taste like?
The fact that anyone in Australia eats beef is like a travesty. It's like, eat kangaroo. It's better for you. It's leaner. It's healthier, and they're a pest. And Australia had a like a 3-inch layer of permacrust and we brought these cows in with hooves, and they just walking along in herds, they destroy the top layer of soil, and then it's just sand underneath. And so they're like, bringing cattle to Australia was a big part of the destruction of the Australian.
Wow.
But kangaroos taste great. They taste better than beef, but that's obviously a taste.
Yeah, I mean, like,
objective.
have you ever tasted deer,
Subjective.
like venison?
I'm not sure I have yet.
Oh
That's another reason I want to.
I'm hitting you up next time I go shooting. When I go shooting, I go to my buddy's house that hunts.
Yeah.
He always gives me deer meat every time.
I would love to shoot and eat a deer. That would be good.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
I'm actually planning on doing some hunting.
And again, that's like. So my a partner of mine is a vegan. But mainly the problem that is like factory farming and stuff like that. Like the living in captivity and then getting killed at the end is like garbage.
Yeah.
If you can have a wild deer that's had a wonderful wild life the way nature is intended,
100%.
and then some asshole comes along and shoots and eats it, or a lion comes along and kills it and eats it. Like, that's nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like my diet.
Factory farming is not so natural.
Yeah, it's not natural at all.
The corporate aspect of it is like, we don't give a shit if we have 20,000 chickens in this shed, and if bird flu or whatever comes along, then who cares?
Yeah.
Like, it's
get
corporations
immune to
are just about the money. And
well, my diet, like the way my diet works, like I tell people I'm a pescatarian, so I only eat fish.
Okay.
But really, I don't just eat fish. I'll eat fresh caught fish, and I eat hunted meat. I won't eat anything that's farmed because I don't believe in eating anything that's been raised its whole life for the sole purpose of human consumption.
Right. Yeah, that's a good distinction. I think that's good because it's not anything that's been harmed. I mean, you kill an animal to eat it, so that's harming, but it's not.
In my opinion, it had its fair go at life.
It didn't have a whole lifetime in perpetual terror, living in this dark
watching
thing.
Its fucking brother get his neck slit.
Yeah.
So
honestly, I don't think it's as bad as I watched. There's an Australian movie, or at least a movie that a bunch of protests in Australia were promoting. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called now. There was a big protest a couple of months ago in Australia. It's like watch this film, Dominion. I think it was called Dominion, and it's just about animals being.
Netflix or something.
Under absolute, it's on YouTube. You can watch it for free.
Send it.
Okay. And all this stuff's going around on the internet. Everything's polarized all the time. So there's the far extreme vegans are against the far extreme
carnivore dudes,
carnivores and farmers and stuff like that. And it's like, you obviously straw manning and demonizing each other. It's like, can we just like find a slight middle ground? It's like, okay. Some of the video that they found, the video footage that they stole or whatever, snuck into to factory farms to show to record this footage. It's horrifying.
No
doubt. I don't deny how horrifying it is to watch people. But like the Stanford prison experiment shows that pretty much 100% of people who are put in charge of people that are called prisoners, they'll torture those people. So crazy. Animals, if you in the same position, obviously you're gonna. If you would torture a human, which everyone would, I don't care if you think that you wouldn't do it. If you're put in that position, if you were a Nazi prison guard or something in Auschwitz, you think, I would at least be decent to the prisoners. You wouldn't. That's statistical fact. No one is nice to their prisoners. You can't be.
And the people that
psychologically.
claim, well, that's crazy. Like Jordan Peterson has great pieces on that.
Yeah.
And the fact that if you can't dive deep enough to find out, like, what am I capable of? Like, what is the dark side of me capable of?
Find your dark side.
Yeah, you can't fight that unless you know it's there.
You can't deny it because then you'll...
Like, that's one of the things, like, I do martial arts. Like, I do jiu-jitsu. And, like, I practice on a weekly basis. I could easily snap your arm, but I'm not going to.
Right.
I'm going to hold it right here till you tap.
But it helps to know that you can. Because if I was fighting with somebody... I don't know how to do that, but if I happened upon that move or that hold or whatever where you couldn't easily snap someone and I don't know, then I might snap their arm thinking that I'm like, oh, I'm just a little scrawny guy. I'm not gonna.
Leverage is powerful, man.
But you don't know your own strength as well, so.
Especially when you're drunk in a bar fight.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But this is one of the things like I think about, like, because I tend to be really empathically minded. Like I have a lot of empathy in me. So even like we were camping this weekend, like I was with Joe, and we had a bunch of these frogs, baby frogs, like this big. Crazy. I'd never seen frogs so small.
Yeah, right.
And they were running around the camp, and it's like, man, this sucks, because inevitably a lot of these guys are gonna die. And if you can recognize that, like, I know this is sad that I'm killing frogs because I'm setting up my hammock over their house. Right. You know? It sucks to know that. Yeah. But it's the same thing. If you're having a shitty day and a guard's being an asshole, and you're a guard and your prisoner's being an asshole, you're gonna take your day out on that fucking guy, man. Yeah.
If they're having a shitty day and they hit you, then they're gonna get beaten the absolute shit out of. Yeah, that's it. So, yeah, anyone who thinks that they're above, I have a problem with the word empath and the word like spirituality in general. Like I've been doing a group meditation thing each week. Well, some weeks, and I don't have any faith in any kind of spirituality at all.
Really?
I'm not really a materialist. I'm not really the opposite of that. But at the same time, the language that they use kind of arcs me up a little bit. It's like talking about spirituality, talking about being an empath as though you are more in tune with other people's. Like, I know,
I feel like the word's abused for sure.
Maybe the natural state of humanity is to be an empath, and more and more people are becoming like, maybe the opposite of that is autistic, where you just don't relate to other people's emotions. And maybe I'm a little bit autistic. They say the autistic spectrum, and by definition of a spectrum, everyone's on it. So the extreme of one end is to not be autistic, I guess. But anywhere down to extreme autism, where you can't even communicate with people, you can't even speak or understand language. But the idea, you know, all these memes get shared around in spiritual groups on Facebook about, oh, I'm an empath. You need to, you know, be delicate. Treat me delicately because I'm so in tune with stuff. I'm like,
my God.
The idea that anyone is more spiritual than anyone else. Like, if there's a human spirit, then everyone has a human spirit, right?
Or they
don't.
We're all,
or
like,
they don't.
Well, this is and I could be wrong, and this is why, like, I don't ever push my diet on people, because my diet is the way I live, right?
What's your diet?
Well, I was just saying, like, I'll eat hunted meat and wild-caught fish, right? I won't eat anything farm-raised because...
don't eat me because I have the memory of a goldfish.
We'll eat you, so it's okay.
Yeah, as long as I hunt you. But like you were saying, like with the spirituality part of the thing, I think because I know what I'm capable of, because I know suffering. That's why I can identify with this, because I have actual experience that's evidence to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Some of these people that like claim like, oh, I'm empathic and stuff. I hate that stuff too, where they act like they're more in tune with the world. In my opinion, like I don't want to go too deep into like my religious views or whatever. That
let's get into religion.
All right, we can, but whatever. But like, what I think is, you know, like, we're the energy that powers life. Like, when we die, it goes somewhere in like another dimension, maybe. I can't explain that part of it. But we're all one. We all come from this pool of life.
See, that's the kind of thing that spiritualists say that I like.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, sure, we're all made of the same stuff. Yeah. We're all made of stardust and all.
Like, there's got to be like there's a common pilot in all of us. Like, we're piloting this flesh vehicle, right? But my belief is that, you know, suffering and pain is inevitable, you know. So if you can impart on others, like Jordan Peterson has a great thing on this, where it's like, life is suffering, right? So embrace that. right? Life is pain. And if like you worry about stuff, you're just suffering twice.
Right.
Just live it, you know?
Right.
But it's the same thing with jiu-jitsu. Like, this is why, like, I feel like I love having this conversation with people. Because when I like, the first competition I ever did in jiu-jitsu, like, I actually went to do, like, an actual, like, competition. I'm asking all my, like, jiu-jitsu teammates. I'm like, oh, what do you guys do to prepare? Oh, you do this? Like, I'm doing this guy's thing, like, his pre-gig ritual. I'm doing this guy's thing. Like, all right, I think I'm going to be ready. And I lost immediately. I got trashed, right? So... because because maybe the worry I was having is, man, I think maybe a lot of, like, right when I, like, was watching some of the people I was going to fight, I was worried, like, man, I wonder how much more he's training than me. I'm putting myself in that guy's shoes too much. This most recent tournament I did, I won. And I feel like, of course, my experience since the other one has helped, and my intention on training, of course, the intensity and everything. But the whole time I was in my own mind, and I wasn't concerned about anyone else. I didn't even make eye contact with them till we slapped to fight.
Right.
I did not look at the other guy, because I don't want to put myself in your shoes. I'm here to win. I don't want to know that you're here to win too. You know what I mean?
It's too small a sample size to make general to make like a scientific assumption about that. Maybe, I don't know.
I think
if you did it a few times and a few times.
Yeah.
Sports people are notoriously superstitious, right?
I don't know if I would say superstitious, but I would say like I feel like
got my lucky baseball cap on.
I feel well. You know, like one of the philosophies I live by, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was Socrates that said it's a pity or something to this. I'm not going to quote it perfectly, but it's a shame for a man to not know what his physical body is capable of.
Right.
You should strive to be physically as great as you can mentally.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a big believer in that. But I was saying too. Like I think all life shares that. Like I think plants are kind of even similar. Like I think obviously plants give food like on their branches. So you know you should try to plant the seeds if you can. Like I love Johnny Appleseed. Like that was one of my favorite stories growing up.
Right.
So I just believe in that message.
Yeah, I like that.
So you said you don't like a lot of the spiritual stuff or the gatherings, like the people there that are acting like they're more in tune with the universe than they probably are.
I love the gatherings. I love to hang out with people, but I just don't like to listen to them. I just don't like to listen to them proselytize about their spirituality or their diets or their like. I don't.
Was I annoying you just now?
No. Like,
was mine more relatable?
I'm fine. Yeah.
Like, did I at least explain it well enough that you could relate to it in some semblance?
Memory like a sieve. I can't even remember what you said about
you goldfish. Look at this shirt.
Goldfish. What color is my shirt? Oh, I didn't even wear a shirt without stains on it.
Oh my god.
Video podcast.
That's amazing. I'm glad. I know, like, right when you showed up with the camo pants, I'm like, oh, thank God, I'm getting the real bones. I'm getting the real guy. That's awesome.
Oh, I try.
Oh, that's good, man. Oh, man, we went on a huge tangent just now.
What were we talking about?
You know what we were talking about before? Gun control.
Oh, yeah.
The first 2 minutes.
No, like,
okay.
It wasn't in the first 2 minutes. It was like.
Okay, so
all right,
let me
get
tell
in the
you.
comments. Tell me if I'm wrong. 20 minutes ago.
Let me tell you.
I was asking you what your opinion on the Second Amendment is with semi-automatic weapons and how. Oh, yeah. Then we got to Australia. Then we got to kangaroos being delicious, and then we got to spirituality.
Oh man, the problem in this country, mass shootings and stuff, has nothing to do with gun control. I mean. Sure, if you took away the crazy people's guns, they'd go on stabbing sprees and only kill 3 people before someone, like, tackled them or whatever. But that's not the problem. I mean, sure, it'd be better if a psychopath could only kill 3 people before they got tackled instead of 50 or whatever. But that's not the problem. The problem is that there are people who are so out of their mind that they want to kill a bunch of people, as many as they can. Like, that has nothing to do. their desire to do that has nothing to do with whether or not you're allowed to have automatic weapons or nuclear weapons or tanks or whatever you can, or rocket launchers or whatever you can possibly have. No, that upsets me greatly. It's like, so I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist. I don't know if that's been obvious so far. I mean, throughout history, there's been lots of conspiracy theories, and a bunch of them have turned out to be true, like Edward Snowden pointing out that actually, the government is listening to your phone calls, recording them all, and I mean, I don't necessarily have the problem with that. I think that's natural. Technology is increasing to the point where people have the technology to record every phone call and record every, like, videotape every street corner and watch everything that's happening, or at least have computers watching them.
Yeah. And
I don't think that's a problem as long as we can come to a human consensus of what sort of behavior is okay and what's not. And it's like going on a rampage and killing a lot of people is universally not okay. Depending on your religion, or depending on whatever things you might, however you might justify that kind of behavior, but as far as like the drug war and stuff like that, if you're listening in on people's phone calls so that you can catch them out selling, sharing naturally growing plants out of the ground to smoke them that harms nobody else, obviously, I mean, this country is definitely on the fast track to legalizing marijuana. Even
definitely a step in the right direction.
Denver, Colorado legalized mushrooms, right?
Decriminalized.
That's a good start.
That'd be interesting.
That's a good start. I'm pretty sure that's happened. It's going to be on the California ballot next year.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Next year, California is going to vote on whether or not magic mushrooms should be decriminalized.
And I don't know the legitimacy of the studies, but there has been evidence shown that like the mushrooms help with like things like PTSD and other like psychological things.
Out of this world, yeah. No pharmaceuticals are as good as these things, and
not even close. Especially like with the side effects.
The number of people
if you get a pill that's gonna do it, it's gonna make you
the number of people who won't try magic mushrooms because either they don't move in the right social circles, so they don't know anyone who's interested who would supply them or promote them to them, and the number of people who won't do them just because they're illegal and they equate morality with legality.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge step if psilocybin mushrooms get legalized, and those two groups of people may or may not try mushrooms because those were the two reasons they wouldn't, and now they can because those two reasons are obliterated by the fact that they're decriminalized or legalized. That's enough to make a huge shift in the world, you know. I think the 60s and the LSD movement and stuff has has helped me, and I don't know, my parents weren't hippies, weren't taking LSD, but I know that enough people were that it's changed the world enough for the better for my existence, you know. I do better because of that movement, because people
That's awesome, man. But yeah, so do you think just talking about like with the psychedelic part, or the psycho whatever, the mental part of this, I'm like saying the wrong word, the people who can't own guns because they have psychological problems, right? One of the issues that like I've tend to have seen in some of these studies is these people who should be qualified to have weapons by the modern standard can have these weapons, and they do own them, but like some tragic event happens in their life, let's say the wife divorces them or cheats on them, and then they go on a rampage. That sucks because you can't equate for that. How are you going to make some sort of regulation against random situations that cause people to reach the breaking point that are otherwise stable humans.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
So it seems like the goal, the way you speak, it sounds like the goal is to make a society that is immune from tragedy. And that is impossible. That is ridiculous. That's like sometimes accidents are gonna happen. Sometimes someone's gonna go fucking crazy and shoot some people.
Yeah.
And that's horrifying. But the idea that you can have a world that doesn't happen in might be whether or not that's even possible is not even the issue. I mean, I feel like homogenous societies, little towns where there's no one comes in from, people look after each other and stuff like that. Like I hope that we can sustain as much immigration and stuff and culture mixing, because I love cultures as we can, but when there's ethnic tension in places, and when there's like stuff like that, and
it's a shame,
and financial tension, when the gap between the rich and the poor in this country is outrageous,
insane,
and it's fairly well linked to race as well. I mean, there are poor white people and rich Mexicans, I assume.
Yeah.
But
Pablo Escobar.
Right. Yeah. The idea that you can have that you can be safe, be kept safe by the government, like I think if people are evolving into the 21st century and stuff like that, then especially with social media and you can get alerts so quickly. I was amazed to see alerts come up on my phone. It's not a phone call or a text message. It's my phone starts beeping and flashing and saying there's a what were there? Flash flood warnings a couple of times since I've been here for about a year.
Yeah.
There's been a few flash flood warnings. I've even had a few tornado warnings.
Yeah.
My phone.
Have you ever received an Amber Alert?
Flashes. No, I don't think so.
That's when like a child's been like abducted or goes missing. And I've gotten a few of those, and I think that's awesome. That's something that exists now.
If you can alert most of the people on any given street that a kid fitting this description is suddenly, and if you look on the lookout for that, that's great. That's great. Yeah, we should. I mean, social media is. I think that's a really good way for us to increase that kind of power, social power to keep a lookout to each other and look after each other and stuff like that. But the idea that we're paying tax for this institution, the government, to look after us, as if they care, they're so far removed from the career politicians and stuff like that. I mean, I wasn't in the country yet. I'm a dual citizen of Australia and America, so I had the ability to vote, and I just didn't quite get through with it. But I was a big Bernie Sanders fan in 2016, but after he got knocked out, and I thought about it a bit more, I was like, Donald Trump's the guy I want, and I almost like sorted myself out to do an overseas distance vote for him, but I didn't get that far.
Yeah,
and I'm
honestly,
really
like,
hopeful about
my view on that whole like election thing. When I saw the DNC had betrayed Bernie,
that's exactly Hillary.
I honestly don't trust a lot of these institutions. I didn't vote for Hillary or Trump because I think like a lot of the people were arguing like, oh, it's the this one's like more toxic than the other or something to that effect. I'm like, you're still eating poison.
Yeah.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
The lesser of two evils, or the least deadly of two poisons. Like, which are you gonna eat?
Out of your fucking mind?
Yeah. I don't know any. I don't remember any like third party candidates except for Vermin Supreme who are like worth voting for as opposed to those two. But I am. No, I do. I think Donald Trump's okay. I mean, I think I shouldn't admit that. But just because half of the people or maybe 75% of the people are gonna say
Well, honestly,
fuck that guy. But
I think you have a right to that opinion, and I'm glad that you're voicing that opinion because your right to free speech is more important than anything else.
To be honest, like the decisions that he's made, the things that have done, like there has never been a president, as far as I'm aware, that I approved of every decision they made. And Donald Trump certainly isn't changing that.
Yeah.
I don't approve of everything that he says or does. In fact, I think that he's despicable in a lot of ways, especially on a personal level. They're just the way that he talks and the way everything. But the things that he's actually done. I was really Obama. I was excited about in 2008, 2007, and I think that being how good of a speaker, a public speaker, and a statesman, and a diplomat, such a well-spoken guy. Yeah. And yet, the most drone strikes in the world, and so many things that was, and the people who are, It's personality based. It's like we like Obama, therefore we'll ignore the shit that he does, and then we hate Trump, so therefore anything that he does we'll arc up about.
Well, I think honestly, like that's one of the biggest problems. People are so polarized by what they're seeing on the media, but they're ignoring these career politicians who are there for longer than the president is. Who's really running this?
But man? I'm really excited
because their
about
influence is so deeply rooted with all these. I think it's like different corporations and things. Obviously, they have huge roots into all these things. Money is power. You know what I mean? Yeah. What's the saying? Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
So I'm really excited about the non-career politicians for 2020. Andrew Yang is my favorite.
There's honestly some promise in a lot of these people, but I still at the end of the day, the whole system is fucked.
My dad was trying to write a book for a while. He came up with this idea that in Australia we call it the dole. If you're out of work, you get the dole, and it's like a payment, and it's enough to live on basically, but it's cheap. You're shit poor if you're on the dole. But
it's like
but then you can do like cash in hand work or whatever. If the government doesn't know about it, then you don't pay tax and you don't lose your dole payments or whatever. It's but he had this big idea. I think before I even knew the term universal basic income, and Andrew Yang calls it the freedom dividend. Right? It's not even the UBI, But yeah, my dad convinced me absolutely many years ago that this was a good idea to give everyone the dole, as we call it in Australia, whether or not they get work. Because at the moment, people lose the job, or they never even got a job, and they get on the dole and make just enough to live on. They're not going to look for work, because if they get a job, then they suddenly have to work, instead of 0 hours a week, they work 40 hours a week, and they make a little bit more than they made on the dole. Like, why would you bother doing that when you could just stay on the dole and pretend to look for work? And
but then people aren't going to be working these jobs. Do you think that
everything's getting automated? It's all over.
Yeah,
it's all over. It's the fourth industrial revolution. Is 10 times the size of the last industrial revolution. At which point, hundreds of thousands or millions of people lost their jobs. I'm just promoting Andrew Yang right now, but
speak your opinion, man.
But yeah, I mean,
I want to hear it.
I mean, in another 10 years, like half of the country, half of the world are going to lose their jobs to automated trucks. Like they've got machines to order your meal at McDonald's now, so you don't even need a person, a cashier. Everyone is going to lose their jobs, and where are they going to? go. They're gonna get addicted to drugs. They're gonna get suicidal. They're gonna, like, everything's going down unless we provide a support network. And I'm really against communist like social economy. I absolutely pro capitalist economy. I think that's the thing that's lifted people out of poverty, extreme poverty, and
I think the extremes of any government system are awful. Like, obviously, we're getting really close to the extreme of capitalism here, where we just, there's people so high up on the rung that they're untouchable by the governments.
That's true. But the worrying thing about that is that people, the university students and stuff like that are becoming so anti-capitalist that they don't see the benefits. They're just like, oh, the things that are built on top of capitalism, this corporatism, the crony capitalism, are destroying the world. Therefore, all capitalism is bad, and we should become communist. And it's like,
no.
look at every time communism has ever been tried, and it ends in democide. It ends in mass deaths. And the Georgia Guidestones. Maybe the people want. Maybe the people in charge want that. As a conspiracy theorist.
Hey, man.
But fuck, they don't have the power. We got the power. We got millions and millions of people, hundreds of millions of people.
So Tacticus Kilgore said, "I lost my job to a Wi-Fi enabled toaster."
Oh man, what job did you have?
Yeah, what job was that? What job was that, Kilgore?
Alright. I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you for sharing.
So Andrew Yang.
Andrew Yang, yeah, $1,000 a month. Secure the bag.
Is that what it is? $1,000 a month?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, and who knows? Like, seriously, we have no idea what that's gonna cause. It might cause mass layoffs. It might cause mass, like, raising of rents and stuff like that. Like, everyone, like, the value of land might go off. If everyone can afford a bunch more, then the landowners might.
Well, I mean, $1,000 a month.
I think there's more steps after that. But
I mean, obviously, like, it's way more in depth than that. So I don't even want to touch on it because I don't know. I want to read on that actually. I'd like if you sent me some of the stuff that you're looking into.
Yeah.
But one of the things I'm wondering is maybe because they have that $1,000 a month, they know they can survive a month in mediocre ass housing,
and everyone quits their job.
Surviving on ramen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's going to motivate them to try this thing that they didn't have time for.
Exactly.
When they had the job.
Exactly.
Starting a podcast on a school
bus. Right. The freedom, the freedom to do. This is my old landlord talking, James Adler, the Warehouse, the Eagles Nest Theatre Company in Australia, Melbourne. The freedom to do whatever it is that you think you should be doing, instead of just like, oh, I gotta get a job, I gotta make the money to survive. The struggle. It's like having a little bit of room to step back and be like, okay, I can take a few weeks to just think this stuff over and know where I am, and if I can eat this week, and I can just think about what it is the effect that I want to have on the world, instead of like, oh shit, I gotta get a job wherever I can because otherwise I'll starve in the gutter. So I think that's a huge distinction between that and like the social, the communist economy.
Yeah.
Just like to everyone, to each what they need, and from each what they are able. It's like as soon as you have what you need, I mean, maybe you'll just give up and not do anything, and then the economy will collapse, as happened in pretty much every communist country.
One of the things like I've recently been thinking about is you want to make sure everyone can survive on those means, of course. But what about the people that will do something more if they are provided the resources? Of course, people are going to apply for something that's subsidized, sort of like such as this. How do you verify who's actually going to take this rule seriously and earn more off? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So it doesn't matter because how rapidly we're approaching automation of everything.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be done, and the the idea that there's going to be people flipping burgers at McDonald's in 10 years is just absurd. Like, why would you pay someone minimum wage, even $7 an hour or whatever it is in whatever state, to flip burgers when you can have a machine do it that's more reliable and cheaper and costs a little bit of electricity to keep the machine running once it's programmed. Yeah. So the idea that you're going to have
drama,
that we're still going to be hiring 15-year-olds to flip your burgers, it's not going to happen, regardless of. I mean what the alternative is that the government says we're going to outlaw automation. It's like, imagine if the government in the Stone Age, when we were just discovering bronze or iron, decided, no, we're going to not use that because it's going to put people out of work. Yeah. Like, we would still be in the Stone Age. That's literally the problem. If we're stuck in the pre-automation age, when the rest of the world starts automating everything, do you want your kids to be flipping burgers when they could be I don't know, writing software or I mean, eventually the AI is going to be writing better software than us as well. And we should be striving for that as quickly as possible, because that's going to, the ultimate goal should be, we put us all out of work and have everything automated and bring us food. But I mean,
are you concerned about like overpopulation and stuff though? Like if people just have no time on their hands to do their job, maybe all they want to do is fucking have kids, you know what I mean? Like, are you concerned about maybe that being like
I think I mean,
like, overpopulation is obviously already a problem.
I don't think overpopulation is a problem. It's the shit that people are doing at the moment, inefficiently and destructively. That's the problem. And if we stop doing that, if we were living a little bit more harmoniously with the ecosystem, then it couldn't be a problem. Like, imagine if we planted too many trees and they turned too much carbon dioxide into oxygen, like that would be a problem. We wouldn't be worried about carbon emissions. We'd be worried about too much oxygen in the air. And how absurd does that sound right now?
Yeah.
Right? But it's the same problem in reverse. They're two extremes, like too much carbon dioxide or too much oxygen in the atmosphere. So too much life isn't the problem. I've seen some TED Talks about people undoing desertification, right? Like, you take some herds of sheep around the deserts and they can survive on little tufts of grass here and there. They'll find it, and then they'll shit and piss everywhere, and then next year they come back and there's way more vegetation because
there's more nutrients
exactly,
in the soil.
Exactly. So yeah, too many humans and not enough trees is a problem. But if we keep planting more trees, if we build cities suspended in trees instead of just leveling them, the forests out and building skyscrapers and city blocks with no trees, there's no problem. There's no problem at all as long as we offset our overpopulation with overpopulation of trees. Like, that's the balance.
Yeah.
We cut down all the trees, then you get desert, and then there's too much carbon dioxide, and then we all die. But
what do you think about extraplanetary, like, ambitions?
Total optimism. I mean, I don't think we're gonna have cities on Mars in the next 20 years, but
20 years.
Who knows? But
did you watch?
I think we're gonna last long enough.
What was the last launch?
I saw
with the car.
Oh, the Super Heavy.
Oh no, that
Or
was a
no,
while ago.
The
There's been a
Falcon,
few since then,
right? The Falcon.
Falcon
car?
Heavy. Yeah,
Yeah.
where they launched
I saw the car.
Elon's first
Yeah.
roadster into space.
Did you watch that?
First, as if there's any point ever putting more up there. It was just a.
right.
I mean, I didn't watch the launch, but I saw the car floating around in the space. But,
I remember I watched the live video, and
I was more excited about the one more recently than that. Where they managed to land both or all three launch rockets back vertically, so they can be reused.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I honestly felt so much hope for the human race when I watched that launch, because it was such a harmonious blend of human aspiration to explore and our teaming with just these new developments and the way that we are harnessing technology today. Just like, it almost brought a tear to my eye. I'm like, oh, we can do this. We can save the human race. Like, it almost made me feel that way.
I don't think the human race needs saving, but but it's exciting to see what we can do and like the advancements that we make. It's like on a personal level, if you achieve some goal, it's like it's exciting and it makes you want to keep going. But on a humanity-wide scale, if you see that stuff, it's definitely exciting. It's like you can the world is big enough that everything, all the worst things that you can imagine, someone's doing somewhere in the world. There's people keeping children in their basement locked up that no one knows about, and there's all the worst things you can think of are going on somewhere in the world. There's mass slaughters going on. There's everything, but at the same time, it's 7.5 billion people in the world. There's all of the most amazing and exciting things you can imagine are going on somewhere too.
Yeah.
It's like these numbers are beyond our control. So you can spend your life focusing on all of those worst things, and you can find evidence that they're happening, and you can spend a lifetime shrieking on the internet about them on social media.
Yeah. It's a waste of time.
It isn't necessarily. I'm sure there's a lot of people who are making strides in the right, but but it's miserable. It's like I don't want to do that.
Is not doing something about it.
That's true. There's some like campaigns that get started, but honestly, mostly it doesn't help. It's just like whatever you focus on, you create more of, and if you watch the most exciting things that are happening in the world in science, and then you're putting energy into that, and even if you're not really doing anything, I think it all helps. I think intention and focus is really sound really spiritual now, but as long as you don't use that word,
it's too taboo. Well, kind of piggybacking off of that, I think, to even go way back to the gun thing, I think the biggest thing is people need to value human life, or just life in general, more. That would fix a lot of the problems, I think. The more we value,
I think lots of people do.
The more you value human life, let's say if your wife cheats on you with your best friend, you're probably not gonna. If you've been raised since you were a child that you should give a shit about your neighbor, you're not gonna go shoot the fucking grocery store up or something, you know?
Right.
But
the idea that if your wife cheats on you with your best friend, that I mean, there has to be a lot of other problems in your life.
Course,
you obviously have to be.
I'm saying like that was the breaking point. I'm just saying it as a scenario.
But I mean, if that happened to most people, they wouldn't snap and go and kill people. You have to be really close to wanting to go and kill people already before that happens. Of course. In order to get to that stage. But I'm saying
you might do something else to vent this. And I'm not saying that it would be something healthy. Like maybe you want to go start doing drugs like crack and fucking meth. Right. Because that's going to take the edge off.
But if you take it out on yourself instead of random strangers, then that's a
step in the right direction, because at least you're choosing to take your own life instead of other people. Yeah. You know, you're not stripping them of their free will.
Absolutely. Yeah. I heard about a science fiction story where where in the future there's only one law, and it's that you can't take other people's choice away. So that's so well encompassing that if you kill someone, you take all their choices away. But if you just, I don't know, if you steal something from someone, then it's still like you take away their choice of what to do with that thing. Absolutely. Or whatever. So it's a really well crafted, all encompassing law, a single law. So I wonder
if there's caveats. I want to try to like figure out an example of how I can break that up.
I'd like to explore that deeper.
No, but from the examples that you said, it makes total sense. But there's always a loophole. Like like abortion could be one, you know.
Right. Yeah. See, that's a tricky one because does a unborn child have a choice? Yeah. I don't think. I mean. I like.
It's a good one to ponder.
I think the unborn fetus's choice is less valuable than the pregnant woman's choice. That's obvious to me, but I understand. I understand that. I understand the alternative as well. It's it's tricky.
Yeah, people need to value life more and be more responsible in general. And I don't think like I'm pro-choice as long as it's an informed, consensual, responsible decision. You shouldn't be out fucking everybody and then getting pregnant every month, getting an abortion. I think that's, you know.
That's out of control. I mean that's not nice, but it's like how much worse is that than jerking off and wasting the sperm? Like,
that's a good point.
I mean, I don't think conception is that big a deal. It's obviously a bigger deal than than wasting sperm, but I don't think it's like it might be halfway between. But it's wasting sperm and murdering a newborn child.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's a fair way to look at it.
So where do you draw the line? Do you draw the line between?
And who are you to draw the line?
Because if you don't,
like, who's anyone to draw the line? You know,
if you're total Puritan culture and you're not allowed to masturbate, you're gonna
have some mass shootings.
You're gonna that too, but you're gonna have dreams and you're gonna ejaculate and you like that's gonna get wasted anyway. You make fucking 10 million sperm a day or whatever. You can't have that many children, so they're getting wasted, and that's even when you ejaculate, it's still kind of a potential human life.
Yeah,
it's a potential human life. If it got to an egg, and there aren't that many eggs, so what are you gonna do?
That's a fair way to look at it.
It's murder, right? Yeah. It's murdering humans.
Mass genocide from your balls.
It's mass genocide.
Whole civilizations. All right, man. Those are some crazy. I think those were some of the best conversations I've had on this show. Just diving down all those rabbit holes. That was very fun.
I'm very appreciative of this, and I want to think about stuff. I want to come back sometime.
No, yeah, definitely. I kind of want to go. I see your cards there. I want to talk about music because you're a musician. We haven't talked about music.
I was thinking about that. Like, you guys didn't even touch music.
At all.
We'll get back to that in the first 2 minutes.
We have music.
Yeah, you're all just. So your band or your solo project is called Horns of Pan.
Horns of Pan.
Where's the name come from, bro?
It's a pretty random story. I recorded my first improvised track in 2007. One day when I was very hungover, I had all the equipment. I was intending to write and record music for a long time before that, and I never did anything because I'm a procrastiner and a
story of my life,
piece of shit. But But one day I woke up and I was really hungover and I was like sprightly and excited. So at the time I had a Godin guitar, a Canadian guitar with a pickup in it, a acoustic pickup that was also synth access. So I had 3 outputs: an electric output, acoustic output, and synth output. And it went into this pedal that I had, which you can strum, and it would be like a chorus, a choir, or a string section, or whatever.
That's cool.
Whatever you could have. It was a Roland GR33. This Canadian guitar had a instant like plug-in setup
for it.
And so I can write music. I'm fairly competent, but I just strummed a few chords and let this choir sound, and then I was just babbling incoherently about, I think it was called, the song was called Cut because I saw it was inspired by what was that show called? Harvey Birdman, I think it was. Yeah. Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah, it's.
Was
that Adult Swim? Was it Adult Swim?
Yeah. It was either that or it was Spaceman, Coast to Coast. What was that called?
Space Ghost.
Space Ghost.
Yeah.
Space Ghost. And there was something where he had a pair of scissors or he was pretending to have a pair of scissors and he went cut. And I recorded this. I recorded this song out of my mind.
What was the crab guy?
Borak, something like that. I don't remember. But I recorded this song one day. I woke up really hungover and I was just playing these chorus, choir strums, and there was like a hold button so you could just let the choir sustain. And I was just babbling about. Oh, it's probably still on my SoundCloud. I don't know. Horns of Pan, SoundCloud. Anyway. I had MySpace at the time. It was before Facebook. 2007, I'm pretty sure it was. And I was just like, MySpace had, you could have a band profile or a personal profile. It's like, I need to make a band profile. So I came up with the name Horns of Pan because I was a little bit into Aleister Crowley at the time. And there was on his Wikipedia page, there was a picture of him in like a triangle, like a Illuminati kind of pyramid hat, and he was doing this with his hands, and it said, the caption was Aleister Crowley displaying the horns of Pan. And Pan is the like Greco-Roman god of he was like the forest, he was like a faun, so he had horns and he had hooves, and he would hang out with the
like
forest
Pan's
nymphs.
Labyrinth?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
dude, I love that
that's
film.
Pan.
That film is amazing.
And he would hang out with the forest nymphs and fuck them all day long. And I finally found out later that in the mythology, he was the one who brought music to humanity.
Pan.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's that's a keeper.
One.
That's
a keeper.
Horns of Pan was just a random thing I came up with one day, and yeah, it became my thing. I don't know. Nice. Everyone here, my name's Anthony, but I introduced myself as Bones because
Where did Bones come from?
My parents called me Bones since I was a baby,
Nice.
before I can remember. My dad's younger brother had a horse called Tony, and he used to make fun of it and say it was Tony Boney, and when I was a little kid, like I was Tony Boney and Mr. Bones, and Bones just stuck. So,
nice. It's a good nickname. I like it. My the house I grew up in, our landlord went by Bones.
Oh, right.
So that's why
there's a few of them around now. Unfortunately, nowadays I get bullshit about TV shows and stuff like that. There's a show called Bones that the guy from.
Oh yeah, I know.
The Angel. The guy from Angel is in
I
that
don't know.
show.
I know it's like
it's
a
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It's like a forensic anthropology show. Bones.
Yeah. Well, the actor who played Angel in the Buffy spin-off is in that show. That's irrelevant, but.
Nice. So you are heavily influenced by Tool and like progressive like art rock.
Yeah.
Like, what are like?
I like.
What are some of your like favorite bands? Like, what has influenced you like historically, and what's influencing you now?
So I don't have any genres that I like, but I feel like that the reason genres exist. I mean, genre comes from the same word as generic.
Oh,
like that says it all. That says it all to me. It's like the reason a genre exists is because someone incredibly creative came along and created this sound, and then a whole bunch of other people copied that sound. And that doesn't mean people copying a sound don't often make amazing like advancements to that, but it does mean that if you start making music and you're like, my goal is this genre that's already well defined, it's defined because someone else did it amazingly, that's boring to me. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear mixtures of genres and new inspiration from other things that aren't even music, that just exploration. So as far as modern interpretations, modern genres go, I'm like experimental, psychedelic, ambient. I mean, I say like alternative rock and stuff like that, but that's just to distance it from standard rock. Like progressive rock is cool. Progressive anything is like, it's interesting to hear what people come up with that isn't the 12-bar blues or the standard 4-chord rock progression.
Pop. Yeah.
Like, I'm so bored
that.
by that stuff. I mean, even pop. Like, I don't hate any genres either. I don't love any genres, because every genre, the reason it exists is because there's somebody making cool stuff under that blanket, under that label. But so I understand when people say I hate pop music, or I hate country music, or I hate rap. But I'm like, you haven't listened to it all.
Oh, yeah.
There's some that would blow you away,
Yeah.
I'm sure. And you heard the first thing and you were like, no, I'm writing that off. And it's like writing people off if they have a different political opinion to you or something like that. It's just like absurd. You're just limiting yourself if you do that. You're cutting off your own experience. You're not expanding it. You're not like keeping yourself safe, keeping yourself open to the specific stuff that you already know that you like, because what is that? You're not going to learn anything new from that.
Yeah.
So what was your question?
I was saying, like, we have a question or something?
There's a lot of stuff happening in the chat, actually.
Oh, really? anything
really
notable?
Weird videos. I don't know if you guys know what, like, Brack is or
Yeah, look, we're not going into that right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you guys in the comments.
Coast to coast.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
Thank you guys in the
they
comments.
wanted to
We're not
know
going
why
into it.
he ended up in Reading. Like, why you like?
Yeah, what made
America
you?
kind of makes
well,
sense, but why Reading?
Well, he actually
Yeah.
answered that earlier.
I think
Oh, he did?
I
Okay.
did.
Somebody
So,
didn't know.
so I'm a dual citizen, Australian, US, and I mean, I was kind of lucky. My long-term open relationship girlfriend was going to Sweden for a year, and I was busking in Australia on a Yangqin, on a hammered dulcimer, so I didn't have any particular reason to stick around. And when she was going away for a year, I was like looking for any opportunity to like
make moves.
I was thinking about, my brother lives up in Buffalo, and I was thinking of going to stay with him for a while and see if America was going to be better for me to like do some musical things. And then I got my cousin's business partner bought this warehouse in Reading, and he hit me up. He was like, "You're gonna go and run this warehouse for me." So it's like, perfect. Yeah, perfect timing. It was great.
Do you feel like, even with the advent of the internet and your strategy now with making weekly videos, do you feel like even though you have the advantage of using the internet, do you feel like America's necessary to be here, or could you do could you do your goal from Australia?
I started doing these weekly videos in Australia, in a small town as well, Albury Wodonga, halfway between Sydney and Melbourne, on the border of New South Wales and Victoria. Like that's where I started doing them. but I mean, even I moved to Melbourne for a while, and I was trying to play gigs there. I'm not very outgoing. I'm not very like, I printed these business cards, and I still have yet to go to some venues and hand them out and say, hire me, and I'll play, I'll play a set here.
Well, I really hope this video gets you some gigs, because you are honestly one of the better musicians I've seen. Yeah, at the open mic, like I host the open mic at the Hen every 4th Thursday, and like I think that was the first time I met you. Was one of the nights I was hosting. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? You were playing some really incredible stuff. That was. I was
on a guitar before I had my dulcimer.
Yeah, it was. It was before New Year's, because I saw you perform at Matt Bailey's thing.
Right.
Yeah. Who I'm gonna have on hopefully soon.
Ah, yeah, he'd be good.
He's a great guy. I love that man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be the musician I am today without Matt Bailey.
Nice. Yeah, I've hit him up for some advice about trying to.
He's a good one.
Trying to make a living as a solo musician.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, I can definitely make the same videos and post them in the same forums, and from anywhere in the world. I could be in, wherever, smallest town in the smallest country. But there's definitely, like, Reading is a fairly small city, small town by American standards, and there's the music scene here compared to even compared to Melbourne in Australia, which is like Australia's live music capital. It seems to be almost on par with that. I mean it's smaller, but it's the same
intensity, maybe
same intensity or something like that.
Concentration of talent.
Yeah. Thanks. That's
so I feel like I feel like it's good to be here just because the opportunities in this country. I mean, Australia is about the same area as mainstream mainland USA. With 1/15 of the population or something like that. So it's like a couple of cities of 4 million, and then it's empty.
Yeah, most of it's desert, right?
And between Melbourne and Sydney, which is probably almost the distance from New York to, well, not to Miami, but like half of that distance or something like that. And those are the main population centers in Australia. And there's a bunch of small cities up the East Coast, and then there's nothing in the middle. And it's like the idea that you can go on tour. I mean, even massive global American, British, whatever bands come to Australia, they can play 4 shows, and then they go home again. And it's a long flight, and it's expensive, and it's like we don't have the same. Like here, you could like a band could go on tour from here to
California.
For 6 months. They could play at every place along the way, and like there's enough population density all the way through, and there's enough venues and enough.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a hell of a lot more opportunity here.
Is that one of your goals? Do you want to tour?
I want to try it. I want to see how it goes. I'm playing a lot of covers at the moment. I've made a couple of original albums that are on Bandcamp.com. If you
Bandcamp.com /
I think it's hornsofpan.bandcamp.com actually.
All right.
We'll put it in the description.
We definitely will.
I'll check the link.
People are definitely requesting. They want some weird instruments played. So they said didgeridoos, bagpipes. I don't know about the bagpipes, but
yeah, that's definitely Scottish.
I have Scottish ancestry, but
people are mixing up the accents here.
I would like to learn the bagpipes if I get the chance. But
I thought you said you didn't like wind instruments.
I'm terrible at them. I would really like to play the flute as well. I think that's an amazing sounding instrument.
Talk to Gideon.
But it's up there. Yeah, I should. But it's up there with the violin as a. I mean, that's a stringed instrument, but it's still like the learning curve is very steep.
Huge, yeah.
You can.
That's actually one of my.
You take it up as a
things,
kid, and after a couple of years, you can make a note that sounds decent.
The
dulcimer is the opposite of that. It's the smoothest learning curve. It's a lot. You need to you need to be good at tuning, because my one's got 144 strings, and that's a big job to just tune it up.
Yeah, of course. My 12 string, like, obviously not even close to that.
But
intensity.
how much harder is it than a 6 string?
Yeah, right. It's like what.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you're doing a live show, it's like, so there's a song I wrote, the tuning song, I play it different every time.
So
you know, you have to say some bullshit on the mic to get them to, you know, not mind that you're taking 10 minutes to tune this instrument. But yeah, if you guys want to see some crazy instruments, make sure you tune into episode 5.5. Because I'm going to have this man do some weird stuff.
Do some hammer dulcimer at least, yeah. It's got 24 times as many strings as a standard 6-string guitar,
Yeah, that's
24 to 1. 24 to 1. 144 to 6.
That's amazing. So, back to, like, what are some of the bands you're listening to now? What are you influenced by right now?
I'm constantly disappointed with my own outgoingness to find new music. Honestly, I've been listening to too much of the same stuff for too long. How do you tend to get new music in your like palette? Yeah, I mean it's all recommendation. Yeah, it's all.
I got some for you.
Okay, that's good. In Australia, we've got a really good government-sponsored record. What's it called?
Record company?
No, radio station. We got a Triple J. Triple J is like, and you can listen to it around the world. I think maybe you need a VPN to say you're in Australia, so get you. But no, I don't think you do. I think you can listen to it anyway. But it's great. Every week they have a featured artist, a featured album.
Australian artist?
New album? No, worldwide.
No, worldwide.
So every week they have a featured album, a new album that came out. They choose their favorite or whatever. And then every weekend, Friday and Saturday nights, they have on the Australian TV station ABC. There's like 12 hours of music videos without any ads, without anything. And then on the Saturday night, they get the featured artist of the featured album that week on the radio station to program the music videos for like 3 or 4 hours. So when Tool's Lateralis came out, Tool came and they're just sitting in this dark little basement with a video camera on them, explaining why they like the next music video that comes up. And for about 3 hours they play all of their favorite music videos, and then they do the top 40 and whatever. But it's fantastic. Like, I grew up like it's what MTV should have always been. But instead they had to. But it's the government TV station, so they weren't trying to make a profit. They were, in fact, before the guy who came up with the idea to do the 12 hours of music videos every Friday and Saturday night came along. That was back in the 60s or 70s when the TV station was shut down overnight and there was nothing on the air. So he managed to convince them to do this, and it's just it's a cultural phenomenon. It's great. I grew up
awesome.
I grew up knowing about new bands because they had such incredible music videos. So Tool is like always a huge one.
Top tier, man.
Aphex Twin, I'm trying to get people into around here. He's a Welsh guy. He's a Welsh DJ, but he makes crazy dark, fast drumming, like weird electronic stuff. But the film clips are just absolutely insane. If you haven't seen them,
you ever see Massive Attack's music videos?
I think so. Teardrop.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've seen it. I can't remember
all
offhand.
All of them are crazy. But Tool's like the top tier, like weirdest.
Oh man, you haven't even
one.
seen Aphex Twin.
Send me some, bro. Send me some.
I'll send you
do.
some. Come to Daddy by Aphex Twin I used to cheer every time it came on when I was like 15 or whatever. It would come on.
Please send me that. It sounds
epic.
epic.
Oh man, it's the darkest and most psychotic thing ever.
Stuff, dude.
It's like
it keeps me awake at work.
Yeah.
when I watch that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's scary if you're easily horrified.
Stuff, man. I like that weird stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Chris Cunningham, who did that clip, he did "Army of Me" by Bjork, and he did a bunch of other really cool experimental film clips. but he tends to, well, sometimes does like extended versions where the song is like the last half, but the first half is this huge setup with just like messed up stuff happening. Another one with Aphex Twin. The name escapes me right now, but it's like this kid with the big head and the weird genetic disorder or whatever, kept in a wheelchair, like in chains, and he's like freaking out in this dark room, and his parents are like yelling, screaming at him and stuff. It's really disturbing. But Little Johnny or something, what's it called? I can't remember. Doesn't matter.
That's cool.
Someone will probably say it.
If you're looking for more stuff like that radio station you were talking about, or the TV channel in Australia, on YouTube they have NPR Tiny Desk. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Yeah.
That one's pretty cool. And
that's like live videos. Yeah, they're playing live in front of the Tiny Desk.
You can find some really cool bands there.
I found that a couple of weeks ago. No, this is more about really well like crafted music videos that are instead of live performances, it's like the album version, but it's
well, yeah, I guess you guys were just talking about
over
that you wanted to find more new music, or you haven't as much as you wanted.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And then there's another YouTube channel of a radio station called KEXP. They also have some really. I found a lot of cool bands recently from them as well.
Right. Okay.
And it's all over the spectrum. Just like stuff that's not even in a genre.
I feel like as I get older, it's harder to find new stuff. I mean, growing up, just listening to the radio, I didn't know that much music. So when first album I bought was Morning Glory by Oasis, and it was like on the radio all the time, and I like got into the music because I started to like it after a while because it was on the radio all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why all the pop music is successful, because they
blast it.
Blast the hell out of
that's why you memorize commercials.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, exactly, the jingles. But I'm not against pop music. I was pretty into I quite liked some of the Britney Spears songs, and recently I just discovered Billie Eilish, who I think is pretty incredible. I think she's got some it's the dark kind of stuff that she does, but I find that captivating. I think it's great. Obviously some of it's garbage, but some pick a genre. Some of it's garbage, and some of it's amazing.
100%,
That's what if someone asks me what genre I'm into, I don't even know how to respond. But if I say, what genre are you into, and you say, I like bluegrass, like that's my thing, or pick a genre. It's like, really, you like everything that is that genre, and you don't like anything that's not? Like what? Like, are you alive? Do you have a pulse? Like, it just seems so ridiculous to label yourself, like labeling other people. I think is a dehumanizing thing to do, but labeling yourself, I don't even understand why you would. It's like limiting yourself. It's like, just build some walls and you're in a little box and that's where you'll stay. Like,
there was this I'm just thinking, like, off of that, and like the YouTube channels like you were talking about, there was this one channel where they would do live videos where they would have a band cover another band's song. And like Guar did like Carry On My Wayward Son. You know what I'm talking about? None of you guys?
Song,
Man, well, you know what happened? All their videos got taken down because you're not allowed to put covers on YouTube.
All of Guar's videos got taken down because they had one cover?
All of this channel's videos got taken down.
So they were all covers.
I can't. I hope someone out there knows what I'm talking about and throw it in the comments.
I hope all my videos don't get taken down.
No. Well, yeah, if you're doing covers, unfortunately. Well, that's why I'm saying, like, you put them on Facebook, which is good. On YouTube, if you monetize them and they're not original
that's my
content,
eventual goal if I get enough views and subscribers and stuff. But
just start doing original stuff.
Yeah, I'll try, but I'm not confident enough with my writing to think that I'm gonna write songs that good. But
we're gonna write something dope tonight.
Good, let's do it.
Yo, for sure. So you having fun, man? I'm not sure how long we are in. Whenever Joe gets back, we can find out. But this has been a very fun interview. Like, I've honestly enjoyed how in depth we've gone on stuff.
Me too. I feel like
I would really like to make sure my future podcasts get that deep.
Right.
And you've never done an interview like this before?
No,
like, never done a podcast
I'm terrible scatterbrain. I drink too much and smoke too much weed, so I'm always losing focus, and I'm sure there's been a couple of things that I've started saying and then I've lost track of what I was talking about and stuff. But
I think I've been good at anchoring you.
Right.
We've gone down some tributaries, but we made it back to the main river pretty much every time. We're doing good. I had a lot of fun on this one, man. This was a fun interview.
Yeah.
So
I like your bus. I like your
it's
cool.
I wish you had a sticker. It's been a while since I've had a guest that contributed to this. I put a few of my own from the stuff I'm doing up there.
Definitely a reason for me to get some stickers.
Yeah.
I'll come back just to put a sticker up. No, that's a business card.
I know.
I don't want that up there.
Joe, how long are we in, man? I think we're in a while. This is
the first time I've been toasted, right? I was flying pretty early on this. All right. 2 hours, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're in here pretty good.
Yeah.
Joe, ask Bones a question quick. I have to pee. But we can keep going.
All right.
Joe's going to fill one in for me.
I don't know if you know who this Tacticus Kilgore is, but he keeps on, posting videos that are really weird.
All right, well, let him post whatever he wants, but we're not going to bring it up on the podcast.
Do a reaction video. He sends us some weird shit and we'll react to it.
Man, I didn't prepare. I don't know. Question? Man, what were you guys just talking about? Still talking about music?
Just talking about podcasting, I guess.
Okay.
How much of a lag is that? He just walked out.
Oh, this is maybe 20 seconds. I can switch it to half second there.
So good,
yeah. There what? Oh, what's talking?
Oh, I should tell you about. Is it still going?
Yeah. I just sat on the remote. Go for it.
Oh, I want to tell Brad about it. Let me see if I've got any cards. Yeah.
We have a question? Bones, I got a question for you.
Alright.
Can you do your didgeridoo noise?
Didgeridoo noise.
Yeah, do your didgeridoo noise, dude.
So I learned this from YouTube, because YouTube is the savior of humanity.
So I could learn this even though I'm not from Australia? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. No, it has nothing to do with Australia. Didgeridoos are from Australia to some extent, but this vocal technique is Mongolian, maybe.
Really?
Maybe the Tibetans do some throat singing as well, some overtones and stuff. But so
I think Nate used to do this. I'm about to find out.
So there's 5 different styles in Mongolia, if I remember correctly, and I don't understand them all. I would love to go there and learn under a master or whatever. But
yeah.
So there's a standard little overtone, which is just like a whistle sound over that. You can hum a sound or just vocalize a note, and then there's a whistle overtone. So it's like how you make vowel sounds. If you say I o I o I then it's that's basically what that is a whistled overtone. It's so standard speech doesn't use them to that extent, but it's just a slight inflection of the.
So you're using your lips. You're using your lips to inflect the notes.
Yeah, but the whole shape of the mouth as well. You constrict. You pull your tongue back so it limits the airflow from the back of your throat, and then you change the shape of your mouth to So like A E I O U is just your lips and maybe your tongue. A E I O U is just our standard vowels.
Send me the video. I want to know.
But then and then if you push it, if you just constrict your vocals a bit, it'll take anyone a bit of practice. But if you find good YouTube videos, then you can copy them, and that's how I learned. So you start off with the overtones, and then you push it down, and then you can just play with your tongue and do some different sounds. So it's like it's awesome. It's kind of similar to a didgeridoo sound, but I mean,
do you have a didgeridoo? Do you mess around with those live?
I don't have one. I've got PVC pipe that you can use, but it sounds better on a nice wooden natural one eaten by termites and stuff.
Oh, is that what they are?
Yeah. The Aboriginals in Australia, they'll find trees that have been eaten out by termites, and they'll cut them down and smooth out the outsides, and it's just a tube, and it's the natural wood just resonates a lot better. So I've got PVC pipe that you can practice on and stuff, but it doesn't sound
nearly as
doesn't
good.
sound the same.
That's so cool.
Dip the end in water, and you get cool. Like it sounds better even still.
Man.
But if you crack the wood, cool. then it ruins the sound.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah.
It needs
but
to
some
be
people
perfect.
find amazing pieces of wood with like a bell at the end, so it spreads out. I got a little tattoo on my foot. It's I got it professionally done, and then I tried to add to it myself with a tattoo gun and do this extra one, and then I didn't do them deep enough, so they fell out. But this is the 5-fingered hand of Eris. It's actually the 8-legged spider of Eris, because it's my own. So I was going to tell you about my religion.
Yeah, please do tell.
Which is Discordianism. Discordia, Eris, Discordia, the two names of the Greek.
Eris, is that the goddess of chaos?
That's it.
And discord.
That's it. Discordia and Eris are the Greek and Roman names for the same deity. I don't know. I don't remember which is which. I think Greek is Eris. I think Roman is more similar to English, and discord is a English word now, right? So
yeah, that would make sense.
So yeah, it's the religion of chaos, basically. Like a lot of religions suggest that there must be a god because of how much order and harmony there is in the world. But now that we've got the Hubble telescope and stuff like that, you can look out into the cosmos and see that there is absolute chaos. There's stars smashing into each other. There's galaxies smashing into each other, and there's it's all outrageous. And the little bits of harmony that we have, like we have a 24-hour day, we have cycles, we have years and seasons, and the little bits of harmony, they're temporary, and who knows how long that's going to last for. When the next meteor shower hits and passes by Jupiter, we're going to get knocked out of orbit, and we're going to be in it. Like the harmony is going to change, the patterns are going to change. So it's all chaos, really. And so Discordianism has a lot of interesting beliefs. A little instead of dogmas, which are absolute beliefs, we have katmas, which are relative meta beliefs. So we have ideas about stuff, but we're totally open to the nature of reality changing any second, and anything that you believe is true for now in your mind and that's basically what science is. It's like you come to the best understanding that you can get, and then when something proves you wrong, you dismiss it and you start again. And if you can repeat patterns for long enough, then you accept that's the modern theory, right? Is the thing that fits all the patterns and fits all the evidence for now. But any time that something changes, we don't know that something's going to change, and the basic constructs of reality are going to change at any time when something weird happens. We've got the Large Hadron Collider to experiment with what different states of matter and different states of existence can be like. So we might learn all sorts. And the history of humankind has been the split second as far as the history of the universe.
Yeah.
So who knows how much the constants the constants are going to change. The constants of the gravitational constant and stuff like this. We've got numbers that we've worked out that are in the last century. We know how like the ratio between matter and gravity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like that might be changing slowly. The speed of light might be changing slowly. We don't know. We need to be measuring this stuff for a lot longer amounts of time than 100 years out of 14 billion of the universe's existence to know that that's static. That's not really related to Discordianism at all. It went off on a tangent.
Well, with Discordianism, you said like is your religious belief, right? So, in that theorem or religious belief, what is the concept of life? What is the significance of life to a Discordian individual?
I don't think there's any significance of anything except what it's like. What is the meaning of life, right? It's what. Like, ask any two people that who have it all worked out and have their lives together and are totally fulfilled. They're going to give you two different answers.
Yeah.
So the idea that there's some universal like reason that God created humanity or whatever, that doesn't make any sense to me. If it did, if there was a God that created humanity to, presumably it would be to fulfill some purpose, and we're crazy. It's like if there was a God who created humanity for any specific purpose, it'd be like Vince McMahon creating the WWE or whatever. It's like there's a bunch of different random forces that are just like they're contradicting each other. They're all against each other, and there's like the progressives and the conservatives and the libertarians and the liberals and all of those. If there was one divine power, why would it have us argue amongst ourselves for perpetuity?
Yeah.
Like maybe, but whatever. Like,
but why? Like, why can't anyone answer it?
And the idea that there's like. He's letting us have free will and letting us argue whatever points we come up with, but then the ones that are right get rewarded and the ones that are wrong get punished for eternity or whatever. Like, maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see. I'll take that Pascal's wager. I'll take it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'll bet $50 on it. That's all I got.
50 more years. So that's awesome, man. That's a very it's a respectable view, I think. I like your view on the structure of reality.
I know plenty of staunch religious types who don't think that about my views, but whatever.
It's good.
I don't
to
think
have
that about
them,
their
though.
views. So whatever.
I think it's
diversity
really
is our strength as far as ideas and beliefs. I think, yeah.
I try to go out of my way to find people that disagree with me so that it rounds my
the
perception
goal.
out.
Yeah.
Because I don't have all the answers.
That's the goal.
And anyone that says they do is full of shit.
If you're a little bit too extreme in one way or the other, you can find someone who will give you a wake-up call, who can point it out. If they're too far on the other extreme, then they're not going to do it. They're just going to polarize you, and that's what seems to be happening between liberals and conservatives, or whatever group it is, between Christians and Muslims, or whatever. If there's people who are that opposed to you, to your beliefs, that they just write you off, and that's the big problem, is people writing each other off. If they write you off, then you're gonna write them off, and you're gonna not take any of their perspective into account, because they do that to you. So it's hard it's hard to try and take people's perspectives into account unless they're respectful to you and they say, yeah, I see what you mean, but instead of just, no, you're wrong, God says this, or
that kind of reminds me, do you know who David Goggins is?
No.
He's like he was on the Joe Rogan podcast. I'll send you a link if you want. Great guy. Cool. Helps me in jiu-jitsu tournaments.
Right.
He's a former Navy SEAL guy who used to be like a fat dude on the couch, and like, you know, he like hated his life, completely changed it around. Now he's like an ultra marathon runner, one of these guys, like 1 in a million guys that goes on these like crazy 100-mile runs and shit like that.
Right.
Insane dude. Very, like, he's a huge motivational speaker now, and he just wrote a book, I think, and I'm proud to plug that if it's true. I think he just wrote a book. But one of the things he says that I like am a huge believer on is every human, like pi is the, you know, 3.14 of the circle, right? Every human has their own 3.14, and you need to figure out what your equation is so you can hack your own brain. And I think those people on the, like, at one point, at like one of the things that like that he's saying that from, like, let me bring it back to this, is like he's saying that on the sense, in the sense of, to find, when you do like as many push-ups as you can and then you can't do any more, you really only have put out, like, I think he says it's either 40 or 70%, and you still have 30% left in the tank.
Sure.
And your mind is putting a defense mechanism out there.
If your life is on the line, you could do another couple of push-ups,
yes,
right? But
yeah. Well, I think the same thing can be said for the mental aspect of that. I think, you know, these people that are writing each other off, they're like, oh, that can't possibly be. But 30% of their brains, like, you know, if their whole lives have brought them to this and our whole life has brought us to this, this guy never, this part of the conscience never shows up on the shoulder, but he's like, there's probably some legitimacy in one part of what he's saying. Otherwise, why would he be saying this, you know? Because if everyone, like, if you're a Christian, everyone is eligible to go to heaven, right? If they follow Christ.
Yeah.
So if this person was raised in a place where they don't have Christianity, of course they're still eligible. They just have a harder circumstance because they were born in Islam.
Right. Yeah.
So you need to have some belief in there, like some part of this person can possibly believe in what I believe, but I'm going to write them off because they're writing me off, like you were saying. And they need to find that 3.14, man. That's something I believe. Like, people who aren't open to each other, it's sad because they're really dooming themselves.
Not even dooming, just any kind of limitation just seems like a bad idea. It's like 7.5 billion people on the planet, and they've all got some ideas. Like, not all of them are revolutionary, but a lot of them are interesting and worth thinking about.
Absolutely.
And if you just be like, oh no, all of those people, draw a line down the middle, and anyone on that side, draw a line just around you, and anyone outside this circle is gonna send me to hell or whatever if I listen to them. Sure, whatever. Religion's fascinating.
No doubt.
I was raised as an atheist, that's why.
You were raised as an atheist.
Yeah, but I started getting into the Richard Dawkins, God delusion, militant kind of atheism, and then I realized that I was just being a jerk, and just like arguing with people for no reason when
you don't
really
have the answer.
I noticed that all the arguments on both sides were the same argument. It's like, I put the burden of proof on you, you put the burden of proof on me. I say, prove there's a God, they say, prove there isn't one. And what is the point of these conversations? There's no point. And then I discovered Discordianism, and it's like, everything is true in some sense and false in some sense. So it's like everyone lives in their own reality tunnel and your own perspective, and that's enough for a whole reality. The idea that your little tiny mind can conceive of the whole reality is zero. Like, the chance of that is zero. There's no. Your mind is a tiny little speck the planet Earth, the Milky Way galaxy is a tiny little speck in the cosmos. So the idea that your mind can comprehend everything that's going on is zero. The chance of that is zero. So Nietzsche said that the opposite of a plain truth is plainly false. So you can say the grass is green, you can say the grass is blue, but it's obviously false. Like we know, like simple truths that are meaningless, whatever. But the opposite of a great truth is also true. So there is a God, there is no God. These are like great truths, and it's like it's all down to definitions. It's all down to so much. There's so much.
Yeah, the
there's
word
so much
God
stuff in there.
Can't conceptualize that.
Right. The idea that if there is some ultimate creator that's contained in this entire cosmos, or vice versa, is I don't know. It's just silly. It's like watching two 5-year-olds argue about something. They're both wrong. They're obviously they don't know anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So what makes 20 more years give you the justification that you have a concept of reality that's valid?
30 more years.
You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah, no.
50 more years. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So
your limited experience in the relative view of the entire universe or multiverse.
I try to stay true to the idea that I know nothing. I mean, I think it was Plato who spoke to the Oracle of Delphi or whatever, and they said Plato is the smartest person in the world because he knows that he knows nothing, and that's like that's the whole scientific method. Is like you don't know anything. Science isn't about the ultimate goal of science is a theory. The theory is the theory of gravity or relativity or something. It's like you get to the point where there's an idea. You first have an idea, and then you try as hard. You get 1,000 people who know about this stuff and can measure it to try as hard as they can to discredit and disprove this idea. And if no one can disprove it, then it becomes a theory. That's the scientific theory of gravity, of relativity, of stuff. Nobody has yet come up. And the ultimate goal is to find a disproof. Like, that's the point, is to discredit and disprove any idea that anyone has. If you can't discredit it, as long as you can't discredit it, then that's the current theory, because there's no better idea that solves all of the problems that we have, that explains the nature of reality and the measurements that we can take and the data that we can collect. There's no better rationale or explanation besides this theory. That's when it becomes a theory. It's not the layman term of theory. Just means, oh, that's an idea I came up with. But in science, a theory is like, that's the absolute pinnacle of human thought, basically, as far as until we can disprove it.
Yeah.
So that's the scientific method, is to keep trying to disprove everything, not to like hold on to an idea like your ego is attached to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I've decided this is the thing that I like.
Yeah.
This is the God or the religion or the belief or the, whether it's astrology or any kind of belief.
Well, even like you think about these people who, you know, they commit their whole belief structure to believing something someone else threw out. But then you have great people like Einstein who have spent their entire life coming up with these theorems and everything. And even Einstein's wrong when it comes to the speed of light and the center of a black hole. His theorems break down. And it's crazy that someone's like
but Newton's ideas about gravity like fall apart when it comes when you get to the next level. When he gets to Einstein's theories, relativity, Newton falls apart.
Yeah.
So Einstein's got another step in evolution of these ideas, and hopefully we'll have another genius in another however long who explains how those theories relate to the center of the black hole or to the, you know, but it's all progress as long as we don't let some religious motivated dark age overtake us all. Or...
Well, what's your opinion on the God of the Gaps thing, like dark matter? They say like science right now can't explain dark matter and dark energy.
Yeah, we just haven't yet. That's fine.
But a lot of people say like, that's just God. But it's like you don't want to say that.
Well, because
when we find out what that is, then that disproves the God theory.
That's the God of the Gaps, right? People said that's just God whenever we didn't understand anything ever.
And I feel like that's one of the things that discredits a lot of religions, and I think that holds a lot of legitimacy with my like early beliefs in religion that make me come to the point where I am today with my spirituality, my religious views.
I don't want to attack any religion.
No.
I don't
know better.
I'm somewhat anti-religion, but I don't want to spout on about it because I don't think that's helpful. I think people who have a legitimate belief, who hear someone attacking it, are going to dig their heels in, and it's like you catch more flies with honey than you do with what's the expression?
Shit, right? Isn't that right?
No, you catch plenty of flies with shit.
Yeah. That's the internet right there.
Right.
That's Facebook right there. You catch plenty of flies with shit.
Yeah, there's some kind of saying there.
I don't know. I'm.
That's awesome. That's the internet right there, bro. Honey is books and Facebook is shit.
Right. Yeah, flies will take either one.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit,
fuck, man. That's amazing. That's beautiful. I'm clipping this. Can you give me the time marker for right now? I need that. I need that clip. That's got to be clipped.
2:35.
Cool. Can you write that down somewhere?
Well,
thanks, Joe. Man, that's awesome. You don't like your new hat?
I forgot to wear my hat. No, it's too small. It's too small. I got a big head.
I gave Bones his hat because he wears camo all the time. Why do you wear camo all the time?
Hat. Because they're the most reliable cargo pants I could find. I like to have more pockets. So because I carry too much shit around with me everywhere I go.
So it doesn't matter the design so much. Are camo pants cheaper than like say flat black?
They're just the ones. They're just the ones that I find. I buy everything I own at like the Goodwill outlet.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I don't go shopping at department stores or anything like that.
Right. I'll drink to that.
So
where the drinks at?
Man, it's all by weight at the Goodwill outlet. You pay $1.50 a pound or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I need to go to.
You got to dig through piles and piles, bins full of random shit. But
maybe episode 5.5 should be me going to Goodwill.
Let's go there together. Let's do a.
Have you never been to the one where it's by the pound?
No, I have.
Okay.
I grew up poor, so I am very familiar with it.
Right.
I just haven't been there in years.
So
I'm not poor, but I love that place. I don't want to.
Yeah,
I mean, want to buy something nice off the shelf.
Well, generally speaking, it's.
You can buy something awesome.
It's not only is it awesome, but you're not letting it. It is fun, and you're not letting it go to waste.
Mm.
Like I hardly ever throw clothes out. Like my mom's a seamstress, and vicariously like I've learned how to sew because I've seen enough.
Yeah.
And I fix all of my clothes. I can't remember the last time I threw something out. I turn it into something.
If you got
else.
a T-shirt, and it starts getting like frayed and holy and stuff, you can't really fix it.
Well, you know what I use it for? I use it to work on my car. Then.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean?
That's fine. Reuse everything. Don't buy rags.
I have too many clothes
to clean the oil off your hands.
Are you an idiot?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, reuse everything.
We have comments?
Yes. Does the word Vinegar mean anything to you guys? Vinegar?
Vinegar?
It's spelled Vinegar.
Yeah, that's vinegar.
Vinegar.
Is that how you spell vinegar?
Say
Joe,
vinegar.
Joe,
Why are they saying that?
Joe, why are you
Why
drunk,
ask-
bro?
What's the question?
That's it. That's just
Does the word vinegar mean anything to
just
you?
the word.
Is that something in
I
Australia?
prefer my liquor to be properly fermented, and vinegar
I think Kyle
is just
from Wasted State is on here. It's his last name.
It's when your wine
Wins.
goes off.
That's
yeah,
him.
vinegar.
He's giving
Thanks,
props to our current guest. He's saying he's not going to be as interesting as him.
Oh, I'll drink to that. No, I'm just kidding. Kyle, I can't wait to have you on, man.
But yeah, we've been having a solid group for the last hour and a half. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Thanks for coming along
friends.
for the ride, y'all. Make sure you guys follow Horns of Pan.
Horns of Pan
Help
on
me out. Am I centered here?
Horns of Pan
Put
on
it,
Facebook.
like right near his face.
Okay. Why don't you hold it up?
I'll just put it in front of my face.
Are you gonna switch the camera?
Yeah,
You have to zoom in to see it. Or
He's gonna switch to the other camera.
there it is.
Yeah.
So-
No,
Oh,
this
this
one.
one.
Yep.
Put it back where your face
Ah,
is.
you're in focus
that's
over
what's-
here. Oh,
There you go.
flashy.
There it is.
Bam.
You can't see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Horns of Pan.
We'll put it in the description. We'll put it in the
guy.
description. Don't worry.
Yeah, we definitely will put it in the description. Give me a day or two to update it, please, because I unfortunately work a day job.
If you take
Okay.
if you take 2 days to put my link
sooner-
on your
the
description,
sooner-
I'm gonna be very upset with
The
you.
sooner you send it to me, the sooner it'll show up in there, and then I'll refine it as the days go
I'll
on.
make you put it in just as soon as we're finished.
Yeah, that sounds good. Can you edit it now, Joe? I don't want Bones
It's all
to
good.
stab me
It's
with
all
his
good.
knife.
What? Edit what?
That's
What?
not a knife.
The description.
Oh.
That's all good.
All right, speaking of knives,
friends.
this is like my everyday carry knife. This is a butterfly knife. I'm only opening it really slowly because I don't want you to think I'm dangerous. But it's a nice knife. I'll put it away.
Can I?
And then I'm gonna give it to you.
Oh,
because
okay,
it's the
okay.
proper way
I get to
handle
do it
knife.
myself.
Yes. And then I'll show you a trick if you care. So the handle you're holding right now that doesn't have the dangly boy, that's the one you're supposed to hold. The one that has the dangly thing is called the bite handle.
Wait, that's the bite handle, and this is the.
The bite handle is this one.
That
because
one.
when you close it, if your finger's in here, you get bit.
Yeah, nice. You sharpen this guy.
It's been a
so?
few weeks.
Looks a little-
I dropped it a few times and
Right.
it's beat up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to sharpen it. I need to use Joe's new sharpening stone that he got in there. I've used it already. It's a good knife.
It's a good knife.
That's not a knife.
I'm pretty sure I could stab somebody with that fucking thing.
Alright.
I see you've played knifey spoony before. Ah, there you go.
Oh, you know why? Like, this is such an old one that, like, the latch
That
is
thing
perfect.
falls-
It
that thing
goes
falls
right
in.
into place, and, like, I can't even open it. Like, it's ready for
your
combat
trick.
immediately.
Yeah.
I just did my trick. I won't do any more because this is very condensed, and I don't like doing tricks under pressure really close to someone I care about. So that'll be the end of the Balisong games.
You got the Russian white. It's a shirt.
Oh, this is actually a band that
Huh?
I played a block party with back when I was in this band.
The limbing?
The climbing.
The climbing.
Every time, dude.
Yeah, man, that's
limbing,
that's a problem with your what's the word? Your graphic design.
Dude, it's a big C.
I see the big C. I see it, but it's not obvious.
The limbing, everybody.
The T.
Lemming.
The T. See, this looks like a big C, and a T looks like the TC limbing. Break the mold. The TC limbing.
You don't see the mountains? Like, you climb a mountain?
Yeah, but that T isn't part of the mountain either.
Oh my
The
god.
TC limbing.
You gotta have some graphic design.
Or either Thet climbing. Thet climbing. Thet climbing.
Yeah.
Can you
That's
zoom in on
climbing.
that?
Are you zooming in on
I'll
it?
pull it off and put
Joe,
it up
you're the
close to
worst.
the camera.
Oh my god. What'd you make for dinner last night? Bratwurst. Joe, you're the bratwurst.
That is what we had.
It was delicious. Well, my girlfriend made vegan bratwurst for me because she cares about my body.
and she has assumptions about whether or not eating meat can destroy your body.
No, she actually eats whatever she wants, and that's the cool thing about my diet and my religious views. I don't push them on anyone because I don't know shit.
That's the goal. Yeah.
I like to talk about it, and maybe someone who can relate to me a little goes, "Oh, I was looking for a little bit of guidance. I'm gonna do my own thing based on that because everything we do is based on someone else's viewpoint. You know, someone else told you how to tune that dulcimer, so you play it that way. You know what I mean?
That's all me. I mean, I found a chart that said what notes they were meant to be. But
yep, there you go.
I never found anyone. I never met anyone who.
Well, you know what I mean. Someone made that chart, man.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean.
That's true.
The chart didn't.
I gotta tune it down because the
chart didn't come out of a plant.
New song I'm trying to work on. I've had to like bump it up an octave, a whole tone. And
you bumped every string up a tone.
No, just I play this song up a tone because the tone down I can't play it properly with the way it's
because
laid out.
You're limited with the amount of notes that you have.
But I just want a bigger one now because
I'm
playing this song that I'm struggling to hit the vocal range.
What's the size of a typical dulcimer? Like how many strings is an average guitar is a 6-string, right?
Right.
So what's an average dulcimer?
So the first one I got was at a little music shop in Vietnam, in Saigon, and it had 50 strings on it.
50.
Yeah, so it had 2 bridges, one on the right, one on the left. The left is the right's the bass bridge and the treble bridge, and the right had 2 strings over each course. So one course is like where you hit. So it's like the one I've got has 5 strings on some of the higher courses. So same as inside a piano, the bass strings have like 2 and 3, and then the high end has like 5 or 6 strings, because they're thin strings and they're shorter, so you need more strings to amp the volume up. If you just had one, then it would be too quiet.
Yeah, especially the lower you go on the range.
No, the higher
really?
you go. Yeah. The bass strings are nice and long, so they got a lot of resonance. I don't know.
It's interesting. No. It makes sense. It makes sense. I'm just thinking in terms of a guitar.
My one bass string on the Yangqin, the movable bass bridge. Yeah. I'll show you.
Yeah. I remember. It's a long one at the very bottom.
But it's just a single string, and then the 2 bass bridges have just 2 strings, and then there's 3, and then 4, and then 5 at the top. Yeah, you need more strings the higher because they don't resonate so well. But what's the question? I found the first one in Vietnam that have 50 strings.
That's what I was asking.
There's 10 on both sides.
Average,
10 sets of 2 strings and 10 sets of 3 strings. So 20 and 30. But this one's like 3 times that. It's got 144, almost 150 strings.
How big do they go? I know guitars are retarded. They go up to 20 strings now. All these guys with their
really? There's the Chapman stick and stuff like that.
Exactly.
That's all.
Dumb.
Those things look cool to me, but
live. You know what I mean? You're not using that in a live show.
I feel like there's a sweet spot of trying to take up instruments, and it's when you're younger. It's been almost 10 years. It must have been 25 when I got my first dulcimer. But the learning curve is so shallow on that. You
think it's easy to learn?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've collected stringed instruments since I got anywhere with guitar. When I was 12, I got my first guitar, and I've been collecting string instruments. I've had a sitar, I've had a violin, I've had a few zithers and various other auto harps and stuff like that. And there's a sweet spot. The auto harp is you press the button that says C sharp and or whatever, and you strum the things, and it mutes all the strings that aren't in that key. So you just press a button and strum it, and it's like the instrument that you play if you're not willing to learn how to play an instrument. It's just so simple. You press a button and strum it. So So guitar is pretty complicated to learn. But the dulcimer, like a violin,
Have you ever played piano, like keyboard?
Yeah. My
Would
mum
you
tried
say
to get me.
dulcimer is easier than keyboard?
Hell yes.
Wow.
I mean, guitar is probably on the harder.
It's crazy how like
end.
the aesthetic of having a guitar and being like slash wee is like more important than like actually being able to compose something. Like a dulcimer might be easier to do.
Whatever instrument you play, you can get so good at it that you'll impress people. You can play a triangle and be a virtuoso at a triangle. Like it's not as you can't be a solo triangle player and get famous from it or whatever, because it doesn't have enough range on the instrument. But as far as like I think violin is one of my favorite instruments to listen to if someone amazing is playing it. But I know I've seen people, and I've tried myself to take up the violin, and it takes a lot of effort just to even make a single nice note. The dulcimer, you can get someone to tune it in for you if you can't do it yourself. I've been tuning it for a long time, so I can tune it in. But once it's in tune, you got a hammer, you hit the string, and it sounds good. It's like pressing a key on a piano. It's gonna sound good if the piano's in tune.
Yeah.
But it's a much clearer sound than a piano, because the piano strings are encased in a wooden box, whereas this is the strings are right there, and you're hitting the strings with out in the open. So it's really sharp. It's a little bit too like sharp sometimes. The sound is too, but
well, like when you were jamming in there with me and Ethan, like we were saying how the aesthetic of hearing the hammers hit the strings with the wood, even that tiny semblance of that noise adds so much to it.
And you can put felt over your wooden hammers or whatever you want, so you can get a softer sound.
That's whack. I love the sound that what you have in there is incredible. It caught my attention immediately the first time I heard you. Well, even when you rolled it out, I guess I was like, "What the fuck's going on?"
I've been playing a small section of a small selection of cover songs for way too long. So
have you written anything original on
that? Written pieces like progressions and stuff, but not like songs. Not that I'm singing lyrics to or anything like that. Just playing around. And I have that problem with the guitar as well. I compose stuff, but then I don't write songs out of them.
Yeah, well, anyone you talk to, I think, would have that same thing.
Some people, I know plenty of prolific songwriters who.
Yeah, but I'm sure they have 100 licks on the back burner. And they're like, "Oh, I want to use this, but it's not ready." Everyone's got that, man. Fuck, man, my whole loop station's full of them. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
That's the cool thing about like the loop station. When you're jamming around, you're like, "Oh, I just made a thing. I'm gonna put it here, and then I'm gonna listen to it in a year, and maybe make a thing in a year."
Yeah, I stopped doing that with the loop pedal, and because I was just recording all this stuff that I was doing on the computer, and then you just end up with gigabytes and terabytes of stuff that you
never gonna listen to.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's the cool thing about.
When are you ever inspired to just sit down and listen to the shit that you've recorded for hours and hours and hours?
Well, that's the thing. Like the cool thing about the loop station is you have 99 tracks. So like what I like to do is you only get 99, and you're using the loop station live. So if you need a spot open, you need to go listen through that shit and do something with one of them, dude.
Yeah.
You got to do something with one of those.
If you've got like an SD card or something, a USB, you plug it into the computer, you just copy and paste it all in one go.
If you're throwing it in a folder,
you're never gonna see it again.
Never, dude.
I got so many terabytes of, probably not terabytes, but a lot of, maybe 1 terabyte of stuff I've recorded.
I don't know, bro. That's a lot of sound data, bro. I don't think it's a terabyte. You know how many movies...
Been doing it for a lot of years.
Yeah. I have I have a folder on the NAS that has probably 80% of all, like 80%'s worth of all the songs I've ever heard, and it's only 300 gigs. So I don't think you're putting together a terabyte, man.
Depends on an MP3 format. It depends how much your KB per S is or whatever.
Oh shit. That's albums worth, man.
I was just like, for a while I was just pirating everything I could find, and
Same.
like I'd connect to a friend's computer and he'd have like half a terabyte of music, and I'd just copy the whole thing onto my like external hard drive or whatever. I think I worked out that on average like 2 gigabytes of music was like 1 day in MP3, depending on what the format,
Really?
Yeah. So I had
That's interesting.
So I had like 500 or 600 gigabytes, and it was like a year of music on my. Back when I had iTunes, which was the thing at the time, you load all your music into the iTunes folder, and it was like 300 days of music, and most of it I'd never heard. I was just collecting it, so I could put it on shuffle, and it would just be like a radio station I'd never listened to or whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'd play stuff I liked.
I've been there. That's awesome.
But I gave up. That was like, I was never gonna listen to all that stuff. It's like getting recommendations all the time of films or music to see or listen to.
Oh yeah.
It's
Well,
like you can walk around the streets and get 50 recommendations a day. You don't have time to watch them all.
oh,
listen.
well, that's exactly the problem.
Mm.
You can't listen to everyone's recommendation. Like I tend to reserve it to people that I like. I need to know you.
Yeah.
And I need you to know my taste in music
Yeah.
before I take your recommendation.
Yeah.
So, like, if you know that I like this, that, and the other thing, and you're like, well, those three are very similar to this, I'm going to give that a shot.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're some random Joe on the street that's like, well, my mixtape, it's going to be the shit, I'm going to
Right.
be like, no.
Yeah.
How about no? Let's not and say we did.
It's been, I think once in my life I've been stopped by someone on the street trying to sell me a mixtape or a CD.
You haven't lived in Reading your whole life, obviously.
No. Maybe I should try that though. I've got CDs that I've made.
I would not
Stand out on the
recommend
street.
hanging out on the south side where that happens.
No, okay. The Crossfire Zone, one of the guys was telling me.
The Crossfire Zone.
So are we doing something for the episode tonight?
Yes, I'd like to.
Okay, because it's 3 hours right now.
All right,
Are we at 3 hours?
let's
Yeah.
call it. Let's have
Do you
let's
want
have a
to
jam.
do you want to bring anything else up before we end the episode? Bones, it was hella fun having you on, man.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for
You have
having
really
me.
pretty eyes. No homo.
Yeah, I really appreciated the philosophical bent this one had.
This one was great.
Yeah.
I think this is and Kevin is a super, super introspective guy. The first guy I had on.
Yeah.
And we went super deep
Hmm.
compared to that one.
I'll have
And
to
Kevin's
check that
one of
one
my
out.
favorite people.
This has been
You would
fun. So
probably like that one more.
Yeah.
He
than
was
all the other ones.
kind of the Eastern style meditation.
Yeah, Kevin's a
Zen.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
right,
like he's
right.
a what do you call it? Reiki master. Kevin is.
I'm philosophical, but I'm very anti-spiritual. Very,
He's
like-
not too big on anything
Not
particular,
that-
but
not
Yeah,
that I make
Kevin's
chill.
pretty open.
I don't want to make
I
any
think,
assumptions about
honestly,
what
you
anyone's like.
and him would. He was in
Yeah.
this band with me. It's my
I don't think
favorite.
anybody doesn't like Kevin.
The limbing.
He's the lemming. Dickhead.
The
The climbing. Break the mold. Break the mold, man. That message is important.
It is.
Don't be a robot. Break the mold.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you everyone who tuned into the podcast. I think we had the really good amount of participation on this one.
Yeah.
It's all
probably
building. You've
this
only
is-
done a
yeah.
couple, so
Yeah, man.
it's gonna keep growing.
Yeah, that's kind of
Good.
the plan.
Hope I can come back again sometime.
Yep. I have a stipulation on all of the podcasts I do in the very description. If you read them all,
I'll bring a sticker next time.
Yeah, do that for sure. But I say if you want X guest back on the podcast, we need 100 likes on this video.
All
if you
right.
get to 100 likes, I'll have you on again.
Okay.
Yep.
Like this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to have Bones on again for sure. Well, yeah, we're gonna now write a fucking song and hopefully have something done by the end of the night.
Yeah,
and you
cool.
guys maybe will enjoy it. But thanks, man.
Thanks.
And thanks, Joe, for bringing in
Brad.
these sweet beers.
Thanks,
We
Joe.
didn't really show this last one, but this is a Flesh and Blood. What is this, Dogfish Head as
It's a
well?
red can. I thought that was Coke.
IPA.
Oh no.
Oh fuck.
That's good.
Yeah, if you're
I'm
not
gonna
into
try that.
if you're not into IPAs, this is definitely one to try.
It's very tasteful, I have to
yeah,
say.
it's pretty
It's tame.
easy on
It's
you
tame.
for
It's
an
tame.
IPA.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's really nice.
7.5%. You wouldn't
Yeah.
believe it.
Dogfish
Yeah.
Head. Is that all it is? That's the brand. That's
Yeah.
the
Dogfish Head
Flesh
is
and Blood
great.
IPA.
Yeah.
Flesh and
the
Blood
one.
IPA. That's what it's called.
All
Dogfish
right,
Head.
bro. Well, I'll drink to that.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night.